the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me, and I can't hold it much longer. Gotta let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah.
So let's do this. Happy Monday on FB Live. What a freaking weekend. And also happy Mother's Day as we shouted out all the incredible moms out there. Did you have good Mother's Day?
My wife wasn't here, so it's kind of hard to have a great time with her.
Where was she?
Well, I was in Chicago flying back, and she was in Daytona Beach with my daughter for volleyball. So
You guys are just the sportiest family out there.
I don't know about that. So she got back, and we went to dinner. We had a nice dinner with her mom and the whole family.
Nice.
So it was nice. It was a good Mother's Day.
I did a rando surprise. I have the spontaneous streaks in me sometimes. I'm doing work Saturday afternoon, balcony in Orlando, and I was like, look at kayak. All right, fuck it. 2 hours later, I'm on a plane. So, no.
Don't worry about it, Scott. I'll take over. So Scott, he was looking. He was bored. The rave was over. He couldn't figure out what to do, so he decided to go home and see his mom. What a good son you are, Scott, because, you know, your drug-laced rave that night on Saturday night didn't happen, so you flew home.
It got rained out.
It got rained out, yeah.
It's one of those water raves.
Yes. Also, well, Scott's trying to figure out how to work his microphone, which is absolutely hilarious to try to watch next to me. No, he was a good son. He went home and surprised his mother. That was very nice of you. That was nice of you, Scott, to do that. And Krause, what'd you do for Mother's Day?
Well, I had my mom and my Grammy over. My Grammy is about to turn 90. Bertha is about to turn 90. And I made, let's see, what did we have? I made filet. I made sweet potato bake, some Brussels sprouts with bacon, and a fresh loaf of Hawaiian bread for everybody to munch on, and a Monster cookies. So we had Monster cookies and ice cream. So it was a big old Mother's Day.
What's a sweet potato bake?
Sweet potato bake. It's like sweet potatoes that you mash up, and then you put on this like candy like topping that's like almonds and brown sugar and
marshmallows,
or not almonds,
the whole deal.
pecans. Oh, delicious.
All right, that sounds good. You good now?
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know.
You sound delicious.
Did I sound delicious before?
No, you sounded like you were in Todd's cage.
Oh, okay. So anyway, after dreaming of the drug-laced rave that AJ invited me to, I decided to, you know what, take a break, because I always go when AJ invites me, and flew up to Jersey and surprised Ma, and she loved it. So it was awesome. Anyway.
Did you cook sweet potato bake?
No, I didn't. My dad cooked. He's a sick cook. So, and he's 20 times like more efficient too. See, I can cook, but it takes me forever. So people are like, we'll do it. That's generally how it works in my family. So
Okay.
Dad dominated in the kitchen. So it was great. And I'm back here, 6 a.m. flights. We love them.
I do them every weekend.
Gotta love them, baby.
I know how they are. I do them Saturday and Sunday. I flew to Chicago this weekend. Wasn't even there 24 hours. In, out.
Which there's pros and cons to that. Like you get home quicker, obviously.
Yes, that day is kind of a waste.
Yes, you're tired.
Sunday is kind of a waste.
Where do we want to start? So I feel like even though it's been exhausted quite a bit, being that there's yet another chapter to the Wilson Contreras saga, we have to go there first. Like we're talking this morning, like, all right, should we go Dodgers, Padres? Should we go Yanks, Rays? Both of those series were really interesting. Do we go over Harper fighting with Larry's cousin, Jake Bird? But no, forget all of that, because Wilson Contreras is back. Because the Cardinals said, you know what, we're taking him off the catcher position. And then I caught this from our friend Katie Wu over the weekend, who works for the Athletics. So this was on the 13th. This show's on the 15th. So that was Saturday, okay? Wilson Contreras will catch Jack Flaherty on Monday, May 15th. It's going down. I'm like, wait, what? I thought he got demoted 10 days ago. It was that quick? I thought that they were talking about a long-term.
I thought they were too.
See you down at DH. Outfield? And he was like, no. Okay, just DH. And now he's back, and he's catching the guy who's been struggling, who called him out. Oh, this is just a beautiful soap opera.
It just doesn't make any sense because it was so quick. They did this whole thing about, he can't catch. And then if you read his quotes, he says, I didn't change anything. I didn't do anything different. I'm still doing the same stuff. Maybe they saw something in my body language. What? What body language? That you're DHing and not catching? I don't understand how you can go from DH outfielder DH, and then they're like, no outfield, just DH. Then the guy who basically said he didn't want him to catch, Flaherty, without saying it, he's like, he's got to change all these things. We're making stupid pitches. We're doing all these things. To now, Monday, he's catching Jack Flaherty. I want to see how that goes. This is must-see TV.
It is.
Because if Flaherty does great, I'm Wilson Contreras, I'm like, you were wrong. I was right. And if it goes the other way, Jack Flaherty's like, see, I told you guys he wasn't good. Get him out of here. So it's going to be interesting to see who wins in this kind of little fight that's going on in St. Louis right now.
I don't know who the fight is against. I mean, I don't even know if Wilson knows. Like, based on his comments, like, hey, like, what did you work on, Wilson? I don't know. Like, I didn't hit this week, so maybe they saw how I didn't hit, and so they're like, we got to put you back at catcher because someone else can hit in DH. The point is, the Cardinals are winning without him catching. So it feels like the Cardinals may have made the right decision, and now they're like, no, we got this. So there's so much speculation here by me, like thinking, did they come up with a new, is Flaherty now going to have the pitch comm on his wrist and call his own game? Is somebody from the dugout calling the game? What did they change? Or is this just going to be like our backup catcher Wilson Contreras he's going to catch today? Like, I don't know what's going on.
There's so many layers to this because number one, I thought about Ollie Marmol being all CIA with us a week and a half ago. Like, we have a plan. I know it's not going to make sense, and I'm not going to tell you anything about it.
That part. He was right about that.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. He wasn't lying about that.
You're right. But it's acting as if this is the most complicated profession in the world. It's not going to make sense. You wouldn't understand. I can't explain anything. But there's a plan. Trust me. Our best brains behind the scenes are figuring this all out. And then Wilson in front of the cameras. I didn't change anything. They just want me to catch again on Monday.
Yeah.
It's
his
just
answers were the
ridiculous.
best. He's like, I don't know what I did.
Right.
He's literally
Nothing.
his quote was, I don't know what I did different. I'm doing the same stuff.
And I don't think he's going to be doing anything differently. I think they probably just cleared the air that someone called him out. They tried to use him as a scapegoat. Also, best part too is now they're winning again. They've won 6 of 7. They just swept the Red Sox. They had some late inning magic. Their offense is doing what they're supposed to be doing now too. Arenado started hitting, which is huge. Nolan Gorman's good. They need to keep playing him consistently, even I would say potentially against lefties and righties. So for me, I think St. Louis, just like we were talking about the whole time, they're not a bad team. They're actually a good team if they can get out of their own way.
They would just stop talking to the media.
No,
keep talking to the media.
Keep talking. We love it.
Yeah, we love it, but God, it just the Cardinal way, right? See, they always say, we got the Cardinal. What is the Cardinal? What's the Cardinal way?
Don't ask Zach Gallen.
Zach Gallen got traded for missing workouts, apparently. I mean, according to him, which is amazing. But what is the Cardinal way? Is it running to the media and throwing guys under the bus left and right? Because they've done that a couple times this year. I don't know. To me, it would have made more sense, Krause. Maybe I'm way off on this. Give him Adam Wainwright to catch the first time back. Because you know what? Wainwright's going to call his own game anyways. Give him, he can go to Wilson Contreras, Waino, and say, hey, I'm going to throw 82 curveballs today in a row. And we're just going to go with that. And Wilson can go, okay, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Right? Give him someone that is a veteran guy that knows where he stands. And not that Jack Flaherty's a young guy, but he's also struggled this year. So you're throwing him back into Excuseville if he pitches bad again? Oh, man, I pitched bad. Wilson was catching me. Now he's going to say, no, it didn't have anything to do with it because now he has to. But deep down, there's a little thought in his mind going, why are they giving me Wilson Contreras again?
I completely agree. Except for the fact that I don't think this is the players. I think it's getting blown out of proportion with Wilson, with Jack. Listen, pitchers are going to Jack had a bad outing where he didn't. I guess it wasn't an awful outing, but he walked a bunch of guys. Like this is, that happens. To me, this is like more front office / team prep guys. Like what are we doing? Because the Cardinal way was never. I don't remember anybody throwing anybody under the bus. I heard some meh things about Schilt, but it always, for the most part, stayed in the organization. Now it's Ollie just constantly saying things. Sometimes he's like, yeah, what do you want? Just diarrhea of the mouth, everything that you need to know. And then other times, I can't tell you everything. Like, it's like, what is it? You just don't know what to expect. But what you can expect is Arenado hitting 3 dingers Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Boston. Like, this is all this stuff would have been washed away if the offense would have been doing what they're doing. And you know what? Just let Wilson be. He'll just automatically start getting better, getting to know these pitchers. But you made it a story when you didn't need to.
Let's run some replies from the baseball world. So my personal favorite, the pregame meeting for Contreras and Flaherty. I don't know for anyone Mean Girls related if you'd understand, but it's Regina George being like, love ya, like called you out, but best friends now.
Yeah.
Besties again 10 days later. Flaherty and Contreras.
It's just we've covered it.
We have
ad nauseum, but it's
one more. Can I offer one more?
another meme.
I think so.
Meme.
One
I
more
love
meme.
memes.
One more meme?
Just like your microphone today, non-existent.
Never mind.
Okay, we've moved on
To the Dodgers. Speaking of memes. So ever since that Clayton Kershaw
meme.
of him fake crying, the Dodgers are 7-1. The Padres are a mirror of that record. 1-7. Dodgers swept them over the weekend. And do you think they're throwing that meme up there in the dugout? I mean, in the clubhouse?
So Scott, I'm going to explain something to you since you've never played.
I never
baseball.
played, so I need to know.
Yes, exactly
Please.
where I was going.
Mm-hmm.
There's this thing called baseball gods, and people say, "Oh, they don't exist." They exist.
No.
They exist. Kratz, back me up. When you think you've got it figured out and you're the Padres and you throw some stupid thing making fun of a guy that's a first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the best pitchers of all time, and then you get your ass kicked for the next week, guess what? The baseball gods are saying you ain't that good.
Is that from a baseball god or is that from bulletin board material as well?
They didn't just play the Dodgers.
Right.
But that's baseball God saying, guess what, boys? You ain't that good. You better clean it up. Now, the players had nothing to do with that, but I guarantee you there is a player or two in the Padres that have gone to whoever did it and said, that was a bad idea, guys. We should have just let that one go. Padres thought it was funny. The crowd was going crazy. They won a game. They beat Kershaw. The Padres beat the Dodgers in the DS last year, and it was like they won the World Series. The Dodgers went out and basically didn't do a lot this offseason, brought up some of the young guys. The Padres went out and spent a boatload on Machado, Bogarts, all these guys, right? Brought them all in, tried to get Judge, tried to get Turner. They ended up with Bogarts. They re-signed Machado. The Dodgers are kicking their ass so far this year. The Dodgers are the same Dodgers with Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Max Muncy, Clayton Kershaw, Tony Gonsolin, Shove. And the Padres are looking up going, we thought we finally figured it out, but guess what? We haven't figured it out. You still are our daddy. So it was funny when it happened, and I'm not on the Dodgers, I'm not on the Padres, but now looking at it backwards, you're like, that wasn't the best idea in the world, Padres.
Man, it wasn't, but I think we're making it something like that the players did. I think it may have motivated the Dodgers some, like to kind of back up, but they're not sitting there like with a picture of a crying Clayton Kershaw emoji on the bulletin board.
Maybe
they are.
Maybe
they are. I'm not in their clubhouse, but I think what you said about the whole they spent a lot of money, the Dodgers didn't spend a lot of money. The Padres are feeling sheepish right now. The Padres are feeling like, well, we did so much. It was kind of like the younger brother beating the older brother for the first time in a race or in ping pong, and he's like they just shoving it in their face, and then their younger brother's friends are shoving it in the older brother's face. The older brother's like, okay, let's run it back. And now they're coming back. I don't necessarily believe in the baseball gods in the sense of, because you can't blame somebody that's sitting on the bench going, guy's got a no-hitter. But you never say it, so I'm just saying.
It's just a coincidence, Kraft. Just happens to be a coincidence that since then, 7-1, what's their lead? 7 games?
Over the Padres.
Over the
3
Padres.
games over the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, but
And the Dodgers have the most wins in the National League. Ho
yes, they have the
hum.
best record again.
Ho hum.
26-15. San Diego's 3 games under. It's so early. I mean, I still think the Padres are good. My whole thing,
so that whole it's early thing.
yes, it is. It's a quarter into the
That's
season.
a lot, though. That's a big chunk. It's not like we're 10 games in. We're like,
but my
they're
thing
3
is,
and
they're
7.
both good. That's my thing.
They
The
are.
Padres are underperforming. The Dodgers aren't. The Dodgers are doing what they're supposed to do. They lost Trey Turner. They're missing some other dudes, especially in the rotation, like a Walker Buehler, but they're still a good ball club. They keep pumping out prospects like James Outman. Miguel Vargas looked really good again this past weekend. Mookie is the one, in my mind, who lit up from last weekend more than anyone, right?
He hit that home run off Hader.
Yes.
And he's been on fire since.
Otherwise, that's a loss, right? Mookie saves the day in that game. They had, between the Kershaw meme, and he mentioned that he didn't like that sign that said, like, you hit going vertical instead of horizontal. So, yeah, they poked the sleeping bear in Mookie Betts, who definitely is so freaking naturally talented that you don't want to give him anything extra. Fair?
Fair.
Okay.
Fair.
That's not baseball gods.
Yes, it is.
That's more than
Yes, it
baseball
is.
gods.
No,
That's motivating.
So is baseball gods when a Rosarena comes around third base and just stands there like this and stops? Because we praise that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying that. I'm saying baseball gods they beat them last year in the DS. They beat them early in the year with the crying meme. The Padres were thinking, we got these guys. We know how to beat them. We've got the formula to beat the Dodgers. That's baseball gods. Now the Dodgers are saying, and the baseball gods are saying, hey, listen, you ain't got this figured out. It's like, Kratz, it's like when you would get hot for a week and you'd be like 10 for 20. You're like, I ain't never getting out. Ever getting out. You know what you do? You go 0 for 20 the next week. And you're like, I can't get a hit ever again. I'll never figure out how to get a hit again. Because as soon as you think you got this game figured out, it jumps up and it slaps you like I'm about to slap Scott Brown with this whacker.
I've had enough today already.
And
But what about but you know what a hitting coach or a best coach has always said, you're never as good as your best streaks, you're never as bad as your worst streaks. So are the Padres, which are they closer to?
they're in between.
You know what I think about? What Kratz, I said this a couple times this weekend. The Charlie Manuel phrase. Water levels out, all right? Cardinals playing better, Pirates playing terrible. You're seeing a lot of the teams that are who they thought they were doing what they're supposed to be doing. Red Sox, not as good as we think with the pitching. Like all of that this weekend started to play.
When does the White Sox water?
No, their water is accurate right now.
Yeah.
They're the one team that's
they're a roller coaster time bomb.
Okay.
I'm a
They're a
huge Red
beautiful
Sox
mess.
fan right now because I'm looking for the Red Sox to get that hair red, AJ.
Yeah.
I need it red.
It's going to be red.
We gotta
Like
get
foul territory red.
We got to get Derek Shelton on, like this color. We got to get Derek Shelton on and talk to him.
About what?
Pirates.
What do you want to talk about?
They got to get it going. We got to.
Yeah, but
His
he's given a
extension.
roster that's still building. This team's still a year or two away. We're seeing that right now. Probably 2. Okay, so on the topic of motivating another team, I think that did occur this past weekend. It's just that the team that he motivated sucks. So Bryce Harper played his ass off this weekend, okay? He had the big double late on Friday, homered on Saturday, and I saw it all. He's pumped to his dugout, which everybody does. Then after the homer, he's kind of showing the crowd what's up. And on Sunday, Jake Bird's like, well, we're winning, and we beat your ass 4-0 in this game. So I get out of the jam in the 7th, and I'm going to try and show you guys up.
Didn't you punch him out too right before?
Yeah, let's show everyone what we've got from that game.
Oh, now we got some trouble going. Bryce Harper's got to have to be held back. Jake Bird started saying something, and Harper's not happy about it. He's pushing Diaz. Watch the elbow. JT's coming over as well. They're telling, yeah, Jake Bird must have said something as he was going off the field. I mean, for somebody that threw more pitches out of the strike zone than in the strike zone, he's fortunate that he was able to get out of it without any problems. And now Diaz is pushing Harper again. Harper pushes back again. Howie Kendrick has Kyle Schwarber wrapped up. Again, frustrating afternoon for the Phillies. Hitless with runners in scoring position. And got a non-call on an opportunity to review a play at second that the second base umpire missed. And now it looks like cooler heads have prevailed, but Harper is still red hot.
He is hot.
So is Schwarber. The bullpens will head back. Somebody who looks like he's ready to go to a barbecue came out of the dugout with the Rockies as well. Look at Bird.
It's screaming, talking a lot of smack for somebody who didn't throw the ball that well.
There's so much to
Incredible.
First of all, the
Oh my
commentary on
gosh.
that whole thing was looks like he's came from a barbecue out of the Rockies dugout, right? And then
What does that even mean?
I don't know, and then he says the announcer says we threw more balls than strikes. So what? He threw a scoreless inning. Who gives a crap how he got it?
Well, it's homerism.
But then true. But the thing that gets me about this is Bryce Harper comes charging out of the dugout. The catcher's standing there. And he just stops. Like, go get him. Like, go if you want him. Like, oh, somebody hold me back. Somebody hold me. Oh, you're holding me back. I'm holding up. Like, go ahead, Bryce. Go get him. He's right there. There was nobody stopping you. The catcher was not going to stop him. If he would have grabbed the chest and just gone, whoop, beeline right to Bird. You know what he did? Somebody hold me back. Somebody. That's what happens a lot of times. Listen, Bryce, I get it. You're fired up. Your team is where your team is. You're standing up for your guys. But, dude, if you want to go get him, go get him.
It's
Always
Jake Bird.
available.
Yeah, it's a second-year reliever on the Rockies. They're like, this might be the most action we get all year. Let's go, baby. Let's go. I just thought the whole thing was entertaining for the most part. Phillies are playing good ball, too, for the most part. I mean, they had won 5 in a row. They fell in that game. So I think for the Rockies, like, where's your excitement? This is
Right
your
there.
excitement, right?
What was he doing?
I think it was fun, funny, whatever. I mean, the quote also post game from Harper was perfect, and this is why I do love Bryce, because he will give you something
Oh, yeah.
in interviews. So he goes, once we got out there, he kind of flew into the dugout and went away, and nobody really saw him after he did what he did. Bryce was saying he disappeared.
He did disappear. I mean, you watch it, and Bird gives him one of these, like, well, come on and get it. And then, but he's like constantly moving, and he moves all the way into the dugout, and then he was gone. So, this just meant, actually, I'm leaving, so you can come if you want, but you're not going to touch me anyway. Like, to me, all these situations, that's what everybody wants to do. They just want to, like, hold me back. I can't handle it. Yasiel Puig was like, he was the greatest at that. Like, he would get so fired up and do nothing until somebody was in between him. Then he was like, oh my gosh, I'm the maddest person of all time. Like, no, just like, if you're actually going to do something, Amir Garrett is a G because of what he did. He wasn't, like, the dudes were chirping. I forget what it was. It was some reliever from the Pirates was chirping, and Garrett was like, all right, he gone. And he just went after him.
Yeah.
1 versus 12.
He
And I
didn't
actually
care.
think it was a fair fight, too.
Oh, I've only seen one thing even close to that. It was in AAA. It was this guy, Frankie Rodriguez, before your guys' time. He was not a guy you would mess with. And we're playing in Salt Lake, and we're playing Eddie Perez, the guy on ESPN, and the Memphis Redbirds, and he hits a guy, and they're chirping, and he looks in their dugout, and he goes, I'm going to hit every one of y'all if you don't shut up. And they're like, next guy, fook. He looks at him and goes, who's next? And they looked at him, he goes, come on, I'll fight all y'all. From the mound, I'll fight you all, let's go. nope. They all just were like, nope.
They didn't go after him.
No, hell no, they didn't
No.
do nothing.
That's
They just
awesome.
sat there. And I've had this story. I've talked this story about Eddie, and he's like, once we figured out, we weren't messing with that dude.
We know too much about this guy.
Yeah, we didn't mess with him.
Hey, another big one from the weekend. The Blue Jays sweep the Braves, the first place Atlanta Braves, who still have the comfiest lead in a division in all of baseball at the moment. But let's go over the Toronto side of things. Shi Davidi from Sportsnet joins us right now. You can follow him at Shi Davidi, SHIDAVIDI, Shi. Great to see you, and I'm sure a fun weekend for you to enjoy as well.
Yeah, great to see you too. And yeah, a great weekend of baseball. Some pretty wild games. Chris Bassett absolutely shoves on Friday night, a complete game. The first one for the Blue Jays, well, the first proper complete game for the Blue Jays since 2017. First shutout since 2015. It was tremendous. Then they follow that up with another strong effort on the Saturday, and then they pull off the walk-off in a really bizarre game yesterday, which was kind of messy for both clubs. A lot of uncharacteristic mistakes on both sides of the field, but some good execution from the Blue Jays late allows them to pull it out. And they kind of needed a series like that to reset themselves a bit. They had a bit of a rough go on a 9-game road trip before that. They lost 4 in Boston. They dropped 2 in Philly, but swept the Pirates in the middle of it. So I think they want to sort of congeal around some of the positive traits that they have as a ball team. And I think that weekend will certainly help.
I want to ask you about Bassett because, yeah, he was awesome. We don't see complete game shutouts too frequently these days, of course. And I want to know the temperature of Jays fans after a performance like that, because in my mind, he's a guy that should be a fan favorite. He says what's on his mind. He's tough. He tries to go deep into ball games, like everything you want from like a classic pitcher. And Mets fans mostly loved him. He got off to and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, an okay start, because when we had him on our show, some of the comments to just his random interview answers were like, oh, pitch better, whatever. And I'm like, really? You're calling out Chris Bassett? Like, he's been really good the last few years, and he just joined your ball club. Like, relax. And then, of course, I just see all of the comments flowing, including me not having a life, seeing some of the same people who are calling him out being like, that's my guy. That's my dude. So what do you think Jays fans think of him?
Well, isn't that the world we live in, right? Like, what have you done for me this very second? And that's my opinion of you at this point in time. Look, Chris Bassett has said it himself, right? His first outing with the Blue Jays was a really rough one in St. Louis against the Cardinals, and he ends up giving up a career high in runs. I believe my memory is failing a little bit, but I believe it was 4 home runs in the first 3 innings or something like that. So it was a bit of a rocky start, but he's been nails pretty much every outing since then. And you think about the last couple when he threw 7 shutout against Pittsburgh, when the Blue Jays were coming out of that 4-game sweep in Boston. And then he comes back against Atlanta, one of the best lineups in baseball, and he delivers a complete game right after the Blue Jays had dropped 2 straight, including in Philadelphia, including one in which they led 1-0 in the 9th and ended up losing in 10. So he's had this real propensity for, or ability to, not just come up with big outings, but come up with big outings at important times for the club to ensure that losing streaks don't drag on too long. And I think because of that, he's certainly winning over fans that may have been, I guess, turned off a bit by the first impression. But I just think a lot of that is just the regular emotion. I mean, I don't know how you can look at that guy and what he accomplishes and the way that he pitches and the way he competes and not be a fan of him. In some ways, I think of him a little bit as maybe a bit of an edgier Ross Stripling, which is a guy he was brought in to replace. And he pitches with that same kind of intellect, but he's got a little bit of emotion to him, a fierceness to him. And I think that's really been showing over his early tenure with the Blue Jays. And I think he's someone that is going to, if he hasn't yet, win over whatever skeptics may remain out here in the fan base.
Shi, Bassett has been, we discussed him. You have Gosman, you have the other starters. Are they enough for the Blue Jays to win this division with the hot start the Rays got off of? The Yankees are coming in now. Are their 5 starters enough? Their bullpen's been good. So, again, for me, it goes down to how good is their starting pitching. Are their starters good enough?
Yeah, I think so. But a lot of that also depends on are the turnarounds for Jose Barrios and Yusei Kikuchi, who had a bit of a rough one over the weekend, are they going to last? And look, I think you look at Jose Barrios' track record and you're like, okay, last year has to be an aberration. This guy is a great pitcher. He still has good stuff. And there are a lot of theories on what was going on last year. A lot of conversation about, is he in the right lanes? Is he using the four-seamer too much or the two-seamer too much, or is he not setting up the breaking ball properly? All these different kind of debates. I think to this point, we're seeing some of that stuff abate, and he has a plan that he can move forward with and execute properly, and he seems to be rolling with it. And if that holds, then this rotation's in really good shape. And Kikuchi had a bit of a rough one yesterday against a lineup that can be pretty tough against a left-handed pitcher. Even though he still had a lot of strikeouts, he's still able to get the swing and miss. He still has that raw power stuff. So that should be strong enough. Now, can you catch the Rays? I mean, they're just so out in front of everybody that unless they have a massive correction, it's going to be tough. And then you factor in the new schedule, you get less head-to-head opportunity. And one interesting thing I think we may be seeing playing out, this is a bit bigger picture, but you look at 5 teams in the American League East above 500 right now, and this may be trouble for the rest of baseball because they don't have as many games to beat up on each other within the division now. And so they're just taking it out on the rest of the league, rest of both leagues. And it really seems like the 5 teams finishing 500 in the division can be sustainable because, again, they just don't have as many games to take away from one another. So I think when you factor that in, there's a lot of heavy lifting to do for the Blue Jays to catch the Rays. But, it's a talented group, and this is a postseason team one way or another.
We always talk about on here how water levels out and how teams come back to who they're supposed to be. I think players come back to who they're supposed to be. Who's going to come back to their, I would say, career form? Kevin Kiermaier, who's having an absolute resurgence year, or your starting catcher who's starting to kind of cede some games behind the dish to Danny Jansen? Is it Alejandro Kirk? Is he is his play down, or is Kiermaier playing over his skis right now?
Ooh, interesting. I'd say I hate to sit on the fence, but I think you can see there's certainly a case for both. Now, Kiermaier looks about as athletic and as healthy as we've seen him in years, right? Just the way that he's running, the way that he's moving. He's very comfortable in the role that he's in as the number 9 hitter. He's finding a way to understand that he doesn't have to do a ton. As long as he just finds his way aboard, the guys at the top of the lineup are going to move him around the bases and allow him to do the things that he can do to be successful. So in talking to him, he's found maybe a little bit of freedom in that role and the embrace of it, and not feeling like he has to create much for the rest of his team. All he has to do is just find ways to get aboard. But again, the career numbers say one thing, and there should be some degree of regression there. Same thing with Kirk. He's such a good contact hitter that the way that he looks at the plate right now just doesn't seem like who he is. He's a much better hitter than he's shown, and maybe part of this is he had a late start to spring training because he was waiting for the birth of his first child, and that was delayed for a few weeks. So he's really been in catch-up mode since the early part of March, and that can be tough when you've got a catcher, you've got to learn some new pitchers, you've got to adapt to these new rules, a new pace of the game, and getting himself up to speed in that regard. It's only been the last few weeks, I'd say, that his throwing has caught up to where it's been, and that's really important for the Blue Jays, and obviously part of his game that he needed to up in terms of better being able to control base runners. So I'd expect there to be some progression there, and maybe what we're seeing right now is just a little bit of that slow start still holding him back a touch.
Is this an okay season though if the Jays just get into the playoffs? Because you alluded to the fact that maybe the Rays have already won the division, but is this an okay season for them?
Well, it depends on what they do in the playoffs, right? I mean, the division winners aren't always the teams that win the World Series, but look, this is a team that's been to the postseason. It got there in 2020, whatever you want to call it, got there last year, had the disappointment against the Mariners. They're expecting to take a step forward. And I think but from a bigger picture perspective, the way that seasons go and the degree of randomness that exists within them. I mean, you look at the Dodgers last year going out early. I mean, they were by far, the best team, or I guess maybe you can make an argument that Houston was a close second, but I mean, they should not have been bounced that early, but there is randomness in small sample sizes. So I think getting to the postseason, you got to get yourself a chance. And I think if they can get themselves to the postseason and give themselves the best possible opportunity to advance, to some degree, that's all you can ask for. But this is a group that isn't going to be satisfied if it doesn't do significantly more than they did last year, which was a 2-game loss to the Mariners in the wild card round.
Shy, we're going to mix in one fan question. It's from 2 people, but I'm going to combine it for time purposes. So Toasty said, if you have time, can you ask him about Bo and Vlad slow out of the box? Just curious how they're handling it. Then Luke said, the bigger question is extending Bo and or Vlad. Time is ticking. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, the extension conversations are fascinating in both regards. And when Bichette agreed to a 3-year deal to avoid arbitration and basically cover his remaining arbitration years in the spring, to me, that at least for the time being sort of closed the door on the bigger extension conversation between him and the club, that his future had kind of been secured in the near term, or at least to his free agency. And it felt like both sides kind of said, okay, we'll have the bigger conversation about the extension down the road. With Guerrero, it's pretty interesting because he told me a few weeks ago that the club and him had conversations, but he deemed them as not being too serious. And with him, I mean, because he's a Super 2 player, his earnings are obviously amplified through his arbitration years. I mean, you're looking at possibly paying him another $45 million or so over the next 2 years of arbitration. He's already at 14 this year. He's got $60 million in the bank. The more closer he gets to free agency and the way that contracts have gone in free agency, I mean, the more or the bigger that number is going to get. And so a big extension of the type that players of Guerrero's ilk end up signing, that's not something that we've seen this franchise do. Right now, the record commitment to a player is $150 million over 6 years for George Springer. Guerrero would almost certainly be double that, if not even significantly more than that. It's a big leap forward, but Guerrero is a generational talent. He's someone that you can build marketing franchise's identity around. He's got the personality for it. I'd expect that this is something that will come up again at some point in the offseason, if not next spring. But the clock's certainly ticking, and it certainly seems like the price tag is going up every month that you wait.
Shai, before we let you go, I was looking at your wall behind you. You got Star Wars, you got a bunch of things back there, Spider-Man. But you have a book back there. It says The World is Flat. Are you a flat worlder? Are you one of these conspiracy people that think the world is flat?
It is actually an interesting book by Thomas Friedman. It's probably about 15 years old, talking about economics and how the globalization had essentially flattened the earth from an economic perspective and making all different markets and different kind of opportunities reachable for everybody in the world. So I am not a flat earther in that sense, in the literal, you're going to float off the edge of the ocean into outer space kind of flat earther, but from an economic perspective, I thought that was an interesting argument made.
Mm-hmm. Breaking: Shi Davidi, not Kyrie Irving.
In many ways.
Yes, exactly. Same. Shi, great to catch up with you, man. Have fun the rest of the week with this Jays team. They're hot.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Good seeing you as well.
Thank you, Shi Davidi from Sportsnet. And again, you can follow him at Shi Davidi, just the name, SHIDAVIDI.
By the way, he had the most Canadian accent ever when he was talking. It was, again, the way it just it was like the most Canadian accent.
I wanted him to say sorry so bad.
Yes, or Sports Century.
You guys should have told me. You could have jumped in there. Sorry.
No, there was so much. There was so much I wanted to
Sports
ask
Center,
Shi.
He didn't drop an A, though.
No, I know A's, but
It was there.
I used to do
He
some
wanted
NHL work, and a few of the analysts I worked with, they would try and make sure they didn't do it too often in the show, and I could tell the conscious effort. But then when you spoke to them in real life, there was so much A.
He was like, if you ever go to Toronto and you talk to someone that's from Toronto, that was his accent, like nailing it.
No, it was well done, but it's not in your face. It's not Boston. You've got the heavy Boston
you have
accent.
to kind of know what the words to listen to.
Yes. You have to be paying attention. Nothing gets past baseball players. We learned that again the other day, right? Ken was saying to you weren't on. Ken was saying to Todd, Like Todd noticed something about Ken's haircut or
No, his shirt.
Oh,
His shirt. He
his
was
shirt.
letting the gobbler hang out.
And he's like, you know what? He goes, if I have like one hair off of that's different on my head or whatever, I go into the clubhouse and I hear it from everybody. So attention to detail is what baseball is all about.
Yes.
I did forget at the top of the show to let everyone know who the guests are. So that's
Well, that's
my
because you
bad.
didn't have a microphone on. You forgot that detail.
That's true. That's true. I did not plug in my mic today. And AJ actually didn't pull the prank. I thought that the first time ever I wouldn't have.
it.
Well, it's just like it's on brand if you would have like unplugged my mic at some point when you didn't want to hear it from me. But I
still have to hear you.
I
though.
did it myself.
No, that's rewarding
right.
all the other people. I still have to hear it.
That's true. Jace Peterson from the Oakland A's is going to join us in a bit. And before that, Whit Merrifield. So we'll get more Blue Jays talk going as well. This is your first time doing this. So let's preview some matchups for today. It's time for Last Minute Game Time, brought to you by our friends from the Game Time app, or you can check them out at gametime.co, gametime.co. So nice and simple. Let's pick a matchup, and you can see the promo code if you download the app for $20 off, FT Live. Where are you going? Because it's all about last-minute matchups. I actually highlighted 3. I want to go last because if one of my games doesn't get covered, I will grab that. But I have 3 that I'm really into. Kratzy, you got a last-minute game that you want to hit. You go to Game Time, and where are you going tonight?
I'm driving 2 hours down south to Baltimore. I'm going to see the Shohei show. Like, anytime you get to see the best in the world at anything, Tiger Woods comes to my local course, I'm going to try to go and check out Tiger Woods. Like, you got to come in and see Shohei and Trout. The last year they'll play together, and absolutely, Camden Yards it's an epic stadium too.
So you have Grayson Rodriguez, who is one of the top pitching prospects in the sport. You have an Orioles team that's playing great. They have the new, damn it, I keep forgetting the name. I was explaining it over the
Bird
weekend.
Bath.
Bird Bath, because I keep wanting to say Birdland. Bird Bath section where you just get absolutely water park drenched when they score runs, and especially when they hit homers. So that was one of my candidates. What do you have?
Well, I was going to go with the Dodgers because I just like the matchup of the Twins and the Dodgers.
And Syndergaard.
Syndergaard's finger.
Yeah.
Plus, I like Lopez. I think he's good.
Mm-hmm.
But because of all the hype we've talked about, now I just want to see the Cardinals game. I just want to watch the Cardinals and see what happens. Because who knows what could happen tonight at this game? I mean, we could have Flaherty and Contreras doing Bird and Harper, like Flaherty this and Contreras charging up. Umpires in the way. I don't know. Who knows what could happen in that game?
What if he gives up a 5 spot in the first?
Oh,
Does he go up to Ollie and goes, "That's it, dude. He's out." Just sit
From
him.
the mound, though, he'd be like, "Hey, Ollie, not taking me out. You're taking him out."
Catching change.
Oh, like Japanese style. In Japan, they used to do that. They used to not take the pitcher out. They would take the catcher out. And it was one of the reasons they never invited too many American catchers over, because they'd be like, nope, you were the one that did bad. The catcher did bad. So they'd send them out and bring a new catcher in. It's like, man, talk about hanging out to dry.
I love that. See, and we covered all 3. Those are the 3 that I circled. And by the way, anyone in the chat, if you've got a game that you'd hit last minute, let us know. Those were my 3, though. I'm with you. I mean, I can't look away. And if I'm power ranking the 3, yes, I'm hitting St. Louis and Milwaukee first. I mean, both of them coming off sweeps. That whole dramatic situation has to happen. Plus, our guy, fastball or full menu Freddie, is on the mound, and he's been great. So that's one for me.
That's a big game for both those teams.
Yeah, it's a divisional matchup. You don't get as many of those nowadays, so it's perfect last-minute hit. Number 2 for me is Ohtani Rodriguez. I mean, Angels playing decent right now, and Baltimore's playing great, and you got Grayson. And then number 3 would be Lopez Syndergaard. I feel like there's like a clear-cut top 3 in my mind. Oh, and see, this was one that stood out for me too. Toasty goes, Kirby and the Mariners heading into Boston after both teams played like crap yesterday. Sign me up. Kirby masterclass incoming. Agreed. I was strongly considered Seattle money line, but whatever. We'll get to that later. So those are your 3. Let's run through what you can do if you get a little help from us using the promo code FT Live on the Game Time app. Best spot on the planet for last minute ticket hookups, and you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, and AJ, you're new to the party here, let me help you out. 110% of the difference is credited. 110%. You know what that means?
Yeah.
You're getting money back.
Yes.
Yeah. So good luck finding a better price as we take you through the app and look at what you're working with tonight. Exclusive flash deals always available too on tickets all across the map, from football, basketball, baseball, comedy, theater, concerts, the whole deal. It's all there. They're across 60 cities in the US and in Toronto. And even one of my favorites, of course, is if there happens to be event cancellation, you're protected there. You get your full refund within a week. There's none of the weird credit BS. Like, get your damn money back, job loss assurance. It's all there for you as well. And pricing's all in. So what you see there is what you're paying. And of course, you'll get $20 off if you download the app. Support the squad here. FT Live for $20 off your first purchase at the Game Time app or on gametime.co. That's fun. Oh, and the game that we picked on Friday ended up, in my mind, living up to the billing, or at least that's the one I picked. Now, it's not like Yuri Perez pitched, 8 shutout innings or something, but for a dude to come in there at 20 years old and all the storylines heading up to it of Sandy Alcantara kind of taking care of him, picking up from the airport, and then just stuff-wise, this was the big thing. You're always like, how does this stuff play in the bigs? Holy shit. He had, I believe, 16 whiffs, which is among the most we've seen in a game this year. He went 4 2/3, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. And ready for my troll line, and here's Christina Di Nicola, covers the Marlins for MLB.com, with the max exit velo 99, 4 Ks on the curve, 2 on the slider, and 1 on the fastball.
How hard he threw, 99. That was his max velocity, not exit velocity.
Yeah.
What did I say? Exit?
Exit velocity.
Oh, I mean max.
That's how hard he was just
He was sitting 97.5 with the fastball.
Yes.
He has, in my mind, probably 2+ pitches off of the fastball. The changeup is like 92. Same arm action. Ready for this? I've been waiting to tell you guys this. I'm adding to my list. There are now 21 aces in Major League Baseball.
You're such a troll, too.
Oh my gosh!
I knew you guys would like that. Before you react, I would like to show you the fam watching from home. Yuri Perez picking up his first punch out.
Perez with the 0-2.
If you're trying to drive down that street, you're fucked. It's not happening that day. Like, they took over. That's freaking awesome, though. That was
It is
cool.
pretty awesome.
Yeah.
They were excited. Congratulations on a good debut, not a great debut. Here's the thing for me. The teams are so protective of these guys. 4 2/3, 88 pitches, 58 strikes. We can't let them finish the 5th inning. Can't just let them finish the 5th inning, Kratzy. Learn. I think there was a couple guys on base, but at least figure out, at some point he's going to have to figure out, if you're going to be Sandy Alcantara and you're going to be a guy that gives you 9 innings and 100+ pitches every time out, you got to learn how to navigate trouble. But the teams are like, nope, you're out. We'll bring in a bullpen guy. Always. I had a talk with, where was I this weekend? In Chicago. And Dusty Baker was talking about it. He said, in the minor league, we piggyback. 5, one guy throws 5, the other guy throws 4. He's like, we don't teach these guys how to throw. We don't teach them how to go deep into games. We don't teach them how to navigate trouble. And he's right, because they're like, oh, nope, you're out. First sign of trouble. Nope, well, we got 12 guys in the bullpen we can bring in. Let this guy learn. Let him learn. The Marlins aren't winning anything this year. Let him learn, because next year you get him and Sandy. It's a pretty good one, too. Luzardo's been good this year.
Mm-hmm.
You got a chance, but not if you got 4. Oh, you're out, kid. 88. Nope. 80 innings is your max this year. But next year we need you to throw 120 exactly. Like, come on. What are we doing?
They don't want him to leave also with, 4 or 5 runs on his first start. No, I'm with you. I'm completely with you.
Nobody's going to remember if he gives up 2 or 4.
You're right. And also, it's not the World Series, Kratzy, where, you're going to have a quick trigger, as you should, because life's on the line. This is middle of the road regular season game against the Reds.
I would lean towards, like, I don't have any medical backup to say this, but we have an epidemic of pitchers getting hurt. At some point, we're going to talk about the Rays and their pitchers getting hurt. To me, your starters out there, and what AJ said about letting him go, let him go. Let him figure out okay, now you know what? I got into a jam in the 5th inning, how to get out of it. Maybe he doesn't get out of it, how to try different things. But he learns how to throw, like I said, is one of the characteristics of an ace, because this guy has that kind of stuff. He has that build. He has that like demeanor. He looked like he was, Stallings was like, this dude's, he's ready to go. He wasn't nervous at all. So you have the makings of that stuff. He's got to learn to pitch. And I think all these injuries come from not necessarily how many pitches guys throw, how long into games, how many innings they go. It comes from, all right, I only need you for an inning. Here we go. Let's go. Let's throw it as hard as we can. It's like saying, I'm going to get a brand new car, but the only thing you can ever do is mash on the brake and mash on the throttle. You might not drive it more than 2,000 miles, but this car is going to be absolutely worn out. Let the guy go out there and let him play through some muck. Let him face guys a third time through the order. They're always going to be better the third time through, unless you let a guy do it more than 1 or 2 times ever in a season, because then he learns, I can save this pitch. I don't need to show the 6, 7, 8 hitter in this lineup any of my good stuff until there's a runner on base. Now the third time through, I can really rip on that thing. And it's going to save mileage on these guys that, if you're just going out there, I only got 4 innings, like the Astros minor leaguers, I only got 4 innings. Here we go. 10 punchies in 4 innings. Call me up. To me, that's not healthy.
I will say this to the Marlins' credit. If you show that ability, I think eventually they will let him do what you guys are saying he wasn't allowed to do in his first start. They let Sandy go.
Yeah, but what do you have to show?
When do you get to show it?
Yeah,
You're saying what do they have to show winning wise?
No, what does he have to show as to get that to have the ability to keep going?
I guess
because he has
damage and no trouble. I don't know.
That very rarely ever happens in any game.
No, you're
Even
right.
Sandy's games, there's guys on base.
Okay, so
but here's my thing: they're not taught in the minor leagues how to get through anything because they're out. Oh, you only have 5 innings. No, you could go 5 innings, 45 pitches. Like, well, the other guy's got to finish the last 4, so you're out.
And that's dumb.
Dude,
that is dumb.
That's why I think, like Kratz's point that he just gave us, you see more injuries now because of what he said. Everyone's like, all right, I only have to go 5 innings. I'm throwing as hard as I can. Whereas I know when I was coming up, they wanted guys to go 9 innings. We didn't want to use the bullpen because the bullpen was where guys were like, our bullpen's really not that good. It's like because the good guys were the starters.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, we have 5 good starters, and we maybe have a closer that was pretty good. And then other than that, the bullpen was just guys that were there. And I hate to say that because there's some great dudes that are friends of mine that were those guys.
And you would tell them that.
Yeah, but I'm saying but they never made it either. They were just guys.
No, they're doing it all. You're all right on this part. If you're an ace, they are doing it all wrong. Like how often maybe let's say there's 10 starts that you went 5 innings and 60 pitches. And you couldn't have picked 2 extra innings to go in each of those starts. I mean, we're talking about 20 extra innings. Take 1 start away from him at the end of the year or something like that. Like, you can't let a dude go 7. I agree on this part with the injuries. I think you're causing more problems by, yes, not only saying, hey, I only have to go this long, but also then if you ever do want to go longer, when you're in the big leagues where it's way tougher, you've never done it. It's bad. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm with you. There is a guy.
What's funny is if you've noticed, since we've put all these limitations on guys, there's been more injuries. I feel like. Now, I don't know.
More pitching injuries.
More pitching. I don't know if the numbers back that up, but I feel like there's many more injuries now than there ever was because guys aren't, like you said, they're not taught how to go 9 innings, 8 innings, 7 innings.
Yeah.
They're told, hey, give us 5 and then we'll get you out. Oh, and then guys come off the field and they're like, oh, I gave you 5 good innings. And we'd be like, dude, you only got 5 and dive, dude. What the hell?
Half the damn
You only
game.
go 5?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? Oh,
No,
you only
I'm
threw
with you.
80 pitches? Dude, give us 2 more.
And look what it turned out to a fan base in Toronto, for example, on Friday when Chris Bassett does go. It's like special occasion, but there should be more of it. Let's bring in his teammate. Whit Merrifield from the Blue Jays joining us right now. Whit back at it. Whit, what's going on? Let's start there, actually. How freaking cool was it to see Bassett shove and go the whole distance 9 innings on Friday for your squad, because we don't get to see it very often anymore.
No. Yeah, it was great. Everybody was fired up. Schneider came out in the 8th, I think with 2 outs, came jogging out to the mound, and the whole infield consensus, as a group, kind of ran to the mound quickly. We're like, no, don't do this. And he was like, yeah, no, I got you. I'm just coming out here to give him a break and ask how he's doing. And got a quick out, and then into the 9th, I went up to the pitching coach and was like, he's still in, right? Bass is still in? He goes, yeah, he's still in. So it was great. The ovation that he got when he took the mound, people love to see it. So it was an absolute clinic. I mean, he was just, I can remember one ball that was hit hard the whole game. He was just carving guys up.
Wait, are you saying that you guys kept Schneider? You guys made Schneider keep him in the game?
No,
Come on.
Schneider was keeping him in the game. But we wanted to reiterate it.
As there should.
Yes. Did you hear what we were talking about when you were being checked in? Did you hear the argument? Not really the argument, the discussion about pitchers in the minor leagues. You kind of were more on the tail end of where they are now, which is obviously younger than Erik and I. Any thoughts on that? Do you think, because they don't put a restriction on position players and say, oh, you can only get 2 at-bats this game because you're going to be tired, right? Why do they? Any thoughts on that as a pitcher side from a position player? Yeah,
I mean, just from my perspective, I think just the way that the game is being pitched now, it's kind of calling for that. I heard you touch on it, but it's just a max effort from the get-go now. I mean, it's even to the point where now we have pitching coaches telling catchers just set up down the middle, and telling the pitchers just throw it down the middle as hard as you can, or rip your slider as hard as you can. It's not going to end up in the middle of the plate, so just aim for the middle, and whatever happens. Just throw your nastiest pitch. And I think with that comes a lot of wear and tear on the arm, and so you're having to put restrictions on it, and you're seeing injuries, I think, go up, like you said. Whether the data reflects that or not, I think it's pretty obvious. If you give 100% every pitch, you're going to blow out at some point, and I think we're seeing that more often than not now.
Do you remember when, during your minor league days, a pitcher say, and especially if he was like a more of a top pitching prospect, would he go like, damn, dude, I just flew through 5 innings, I went 62 pitches? Or were they more just like, whatever, it is what it is, I'll just go out there the next time through?
Yeah, I mean, there's prospects that, it's funny, you have inning limits, but they don't really worry about, like, I guess, the pitch count. So if a guy's got 150 inning limit that year, if he's going through 5 at 55 pitches, or 5 at 110 pitches, they don't really put a lot of weight in that. I guess it's more difficult to get up and down. I don't know. I'm not a pitcher, but I guess it's more difficult to go throw and then sit and then go throw again. But I don't know. That's not my area, and I'm glad. I did pitch inning last year though.
Yeah, but was it harder to get up and down the next day or what?
Nah, I was cruising. Oh, and my favorite part about the pitching, even though I didn't strike anybody out, because I was just flipping balls up there. But Joe Adele hit a homer off me, and the next guy that stepped to the plate, I drilled him.
Yeah.
It was like 65 in the shoulder, but I still drilled him.
You gotta announce your presence with authority.
Right.
I love that. The first time you came on, we were talking about stolen bases. Okay. Now I'll whisper it so that people don't know. You have 12 stolen bases. Okay. So that nobody in the league knows. Are you going to get to 40? We're about quarter of the way through the season.
Come on, that was kind of the number that I had pegged at the beginning of the year. So it'd be nice to get to 40. Stolen bases for me has always been kind of like a rhythm thing. Like as soon as I start getting them, they start coming, and I become more comfortable and more confident, and it's just kind of like start rattling them off. And I kind of saw that last week. I think I've had like 7 or 8 in the past week, and so I'm getting more comfortable. I'm here. It's what's helped me is I'm hitting like 6, 7 in the lineup. So last year I was hitting 9, and when I would get on base, it would be like George, Vladdy, Bo, these guys coming up that you really got to be sure if you're gonna steal the bag. I'm more in like that action part of the lineup now, where we're trying to create stuff, and so when I'm getting on base, I feel a little more free to take a couple more chances, and I've had some success early on this year, so I think I'm gaining the confidence of the coaching staff.
Well, you got the Gold Glover, Platinum Glover, All World Glover catcher coming into Toronto. You're going to get 3 or 4 this week, these next couple of days against the Yankees. Trevino, you're calling I think you can get 50. You're at 12, about quarter of the way,
and he's hot right now.
And he's hot. I think 50 might be in there.
Well, we just had Sean Murphy in here, and he's no slouch. And I mean, not to toot my own horn too much, but I stole 5 that series, and I think 3 of them were without a throw. So, it's really not the catcher. It's the pitcher, and a lot of time pitchers are just they're in their own world and
dumb. You can say it. They're dumb.
I like to
pitchers are dumb. It's okay. We know.
Whenever I can. So, yeah, it really, honestly, I don't ever pay attention to who's catching. It's just the pitcher. Can I get a good drop off him? Is he slow to the plate? Is he giving me a tip? Whatever it may be.
What's the biggest tip you see from guys? Is it shoulder? Is it foot? Is it because like a lot of lefties with their back foot, right? If their back foot goes down, this is their toes. Their toes go down. They're going home. If their toe comes up, they go to first, right?
For lefties.
For a lefty, yes. But for a righty, is there a certain thing you look for? You say, okay, the first thing I'm going to look for off of, let's say, Garrett Cole is when he goes home, his shoulder goes first, or his head goes down, or is there a certain thing you look for first?
Let's see. I know a lot of pitchers come on this thing, so
don't give anything away. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah, in general. So a righty, you look at the back shoulder; it'll lean when he goes to the plate. If he's a big, if he's got a wider base, that back shoulder leans before he picks up usually, and then it'll just spin if he comes to the plate. But yeah, no, they that's kind of basic 101, and then there's always certain things that it makes sense, because if you're focused on throwing to the plate, there's probably some different feels that you have going on when you're trying to execute a pitch versus picking to first. So I imagine it's difficult for pitchers to find like a consistent pick move that has the same setup and rhythm as when you go to the plate. And I imagine that's difficult, and I like to take advantage of that.
Don't be so cryptic. You're stepping around like a politician. Well, I don't want to give anything away. It's all for Rusty anyway.
Look, I'm not Terrence Gore. I'm not Gerard Dyson. I gotta have every advantage I can to get every good jump I can, and so I'm not giving nothing away until the end of the year.
Now you're in the Yankees domes right now, because the Yankees pitchers are like, I'm not doing anything. And you know what that's going to do? That's going to leave a ball up, and Kiermaier's going to hit a dinger. It's going to be because of you. Okay, Whit? Speaking of Kiermaier's old team, can you guys catch the Rays?
Well, we've played them once and we beat them. So they're not losing to very many other people. They're hot and they're playing well. So we got a big stretch coming up. We got the Yankees for 4 at home. Baltimore comes in, and then we go to Tampa for 4. So this is a big 11 games for us. Tampa's a good team, man, and they're hot. But, hopefully as hot as they've been collectively, they'll all get cold at the same time collectively. So that's kind of how it works in baseball. But, I mean, damn, they're a good team, and they're playing well. And so hopefully we can continue to play well, because we're a pretty good team over here as well, and we got all the pieces. So we just need to stay healthy and continue to get better as it goes on.
Give us a real answer.
That's a political answer right there.
Yeah, come on. Be like, hell yeah, we can catch him.
But he started. He said, hey, listen, they beat him.
I know. We'd be like, hell yeah, we're going to catch him.
How many series have the Rays lost this year?
Not very many.
Maybe 2. I might
3.
be missing 1. 3? 3 total?
3, yeah. 3
okay.
total.
So the AL East right now, I looked, 46 games above the 500 mark between all of those teams. Like the Yankees are in last place. They're on pace for 89 wins, which almost wins the division last year. And I know it's early in the season, but my question, Whit, is do guys like kind of give shit to players on other teams that are, say, in like a less competitive division? Like you guys are going through a gauntlet all the time. So playfully, like, there's a big difference right now between the AL East and the AL Central. So if you've got a buddy that's like, on the Twins or the Guardians, and they're like, oh, we're cruising, we're going to win 100 this year. And you're like, yeah, good luck. I'm in the AL East.
Well, one of the first things I was told when I got traded over here last year was welcome to the big leagues. So people, it's kind of like being like SEC football. Like you're just kind of proud because you're in a really good division and you got to grind to get through it. And if you come out on top, that's that extra sense of accomplishment, knowing that you were in the best division. So, I mean, we're aware of the teams that are in this league and teams that are good, and but it's not like SEC football where, like, if you're a whatever fan, you always cheer for Alabama to win. Like whenever New York or Tampa or Baltimore or Boston playing somebody else, we're hoping they lose. So, but it's a good league and it's going to be a fun race.
Who told you that? Who told you the welcome to the big leagues?
It was one of the clubbies here actually. So
he knows, right? He knows all those sliders he was hitting.
Yeah.
Speaking of the big leagues, I talked to your dad today just because why would I not talk to your dad before we have you on?
Why would you not?
Exactly. You played Pine Valley Thursday?
I did. Big day for me.
I was supposed to go, but I couldn't go because of this show. So tell me what I missed.
Oh gosh, here we go.
It was, I mean, the best golf course, like from a golf course standpoint that I've ever played, where like every hole was different. Every shot was different. You had to hit every shot to a certain area, and you had like maybe, 10 yards of cushion. But every shot, if you went long, you were in trouble. Right, left, short, you're in trouble every shot. And it was special. I mean, it was immaculate conditions. Just a really, really special place. So I was fired up. I got to play it, and hope you get to play it soon.
So did you leave a comment in the comment box? Did you see where the comment box is?
No, I didn't actually. Jay Billis was in there, and I'm a huge college basketball fan, and so I kind of got distracted in talking to him.
No, the comment box, and if AJ ever gets to play there, the comment box is, I think it's off of 15 or 16. It's like 20 yards out into the water. So if you have a complaint or something.
I love that. That's kind of sick. Yeah. I'm about to get on my host for not telling me about that.
Yep.
For sure. So your dad, again, I spoke to your dad. Is there someone today doing something special you might want to think about saying congrats to? Anything today happening big in your family?
Yeah, little brother graduated from Wake. He actually graduated in December, but today he got to walk. So big day for him, big day for the family. And now I am the only member of the family that has not graduated from.
You didn't want to take the PJ to Wake and maybe skip the game today and go to watch him walk and then hurry back?
I didn't. I was getting play-by-play from my sister, and it didn't sound like it. Graduations don't sound like the best of times, and so I was happy sitting in my apartment signing Topps cards.
There you go. Graduations are boring.
I agree.
It's like like going to dinner or hanging with the fam before or after. The graduation itself needs to be reworked from an entertainment perspective. It is terrible.
You need like a DJ?
I've anything. I've sat through probably 6 to 8, and I can't remember. There was one time it was good. It was Elaine from Seinfeld spoke. Yeah, I don't remember what her real name is, and so she just was like 20 minutes of comedy, but everything else is awful. Like it's really boring. So you don't even did the fam like say, "Oh, we'll FaceTime you for the ceremony." No, I'm good.
No. My sister would just tell me about the speaker and how she had just like was just over the top animated and had these crazy stories about how she fell down this like 30-foot well and her husband had to bench press her out. And I was like trying to figure out in my head, like for her to text that to me, what in the world could this story be about? And then there was an intermission apparently during her speech, or it was actually pretty funny for me to be reading what they were talking about and not be there. So,
Text group. Hey, random question, clubhouse wise. I know you're there obviously early before the game. How many guys get there super early to do the whole like brunch, lunch, dinner experience nowadays, especially the younger guys?
It's not as much as it was earlier in my career. I did bring in a bunch of burgers today, and so I think guys were excited about coming and having some good burgers. So today might have been a little different, but it just kind of depends on, like, I guess if you got family in town, what you got going on in the morning, had you sleep, and then what do you have to do during the day? Do you have to come get a lift in? Do you have to get treatment, stuff like that? But for the most part, I think Brandon Belt has done a good job of letting guys know that you don't have to come to the locker room and sit in your chair and wait for an hour and a half before you start doing stuff. You can just show up, get dressed, and go. So
that's good. You need that, no?
By the way, I don't know if you guys know Brandon Belt or not, but he is one of the funniest human beings I've ever met. Dark too, dark sense of humor.
He needs a hug every once in a while. Give him a hug for me, okay? Because he's actually my first big league strikeout. So
is he good? He told
Wait, All-Star year too, 2016. My bad. He was about to go to the All-Star game. I just ruined the man's life.
Wait, Kratz is a strikeout and Whit doesn't have a strikeout?
I don't have a strikeout. No, I got 2 strikes.
I've pitched more often.
I didn't have that swing and miss stuff, I guess. I don't know. Grassy's kind of nasty.
He's got more stolen bases than me.
Yeah, by a little. I've got one more. So I think it was last time we spoke, you said, hey, at some point, the Blue Jays crowd is probably going to do the whole 5-4-3-2 or whatever with the pitch clock. I haven't been to a Blue Jays game yet this year. Have they done that? Have they embraced that? And if not, do you need to do a PSA right now and be like, let's do this against the Yanks because it could be really cool and screw with some of them?
It would be kind of cool. And no, it hasn't been done here, and haven't really seen it anywhere. So maybe that's something that we incorporate. Is that, I don't know if that's Bush League. Is that like
no, absolutely
not from the fans.
No way.
Not Bush League. All right.
Not at all.
I mean, hey, we'll get any advantage we can. So yeah, that clock starts getting about 7. Go ahead and count it down like it's 3, 2, 1. Hey, it might be helpful. Might be beneficial stealing bases too.
Do you feel like when a certain player comes up? So when I played for the Jays, Blue Jays fans are kind of like, yeah, they kind of get baseball, but man, when Jose Bautista came up, it was like every ball he hit in the air, they were like, oh, it was going to be a home run. Like they don't quite feel the game. Do you feel like there's somebody on the team that when they come up, the stadium starts rocking a little bit more, like they anticipate something happening?
Yeah, Vladdy, for sure. Anytime
More than
Vladdy.
Bo?
Probably by like just a little bit. I mean, they love him some Bo too, and Bo's been hot. So, but Bo's got more. I don't know. Vladdy, when Bo hits a homer, it's like a bullet. When Vladdy hits a homer, it's that big, majestic, like everybody stops what they're doing and watches it. So he does that more often. So it's like whenever he hits one in the air, it's like, yeah, it's like your reaction you're talking about. Everybody gasps and then left fielder comes in a couple steps and catches it. Come on, guys. But yeah, I mean, it's, he's a guy. He's just a guy you anticipate something good happening when he steps to the plate. There's a handful of guys like that in the big leagues that you just know, like, all right, it's been 2 at bats and he hasn't hit a ball hard. Here comes something off the bat at 115, and he's a special talent for sure.
Wait, you've been there. You've been in Toronto now since last trade deadline, right?
Yep.
Have you learned the song yet?
The OK Blue Jays.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so you know it.
Ball. Yeah.
Yeah, let's play ball.
I tell you what,
the
they
French
love
anthem?
the song here. They love it here.
Oh, it's the greatest song that you never want to hear.
I kind of drown it out now. I don't hear it as much. But when I first got here, I was like, what? Because you hear it playing against them, but hearing it like every day, you're like, what is this song? And then someone told me it was like just an old song that's kind of like embraces the culture of Canada baseball or something, and it's a song. It is a song. They love it.
Oh man.
Well,
have you ever seen that? They sing in the seventh inning stretch?
I've been there for a bunch of games. When I'm calling them, I don't know if I've paid attention.
What is it? Seventh inning stretch when they do it?
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah, it's like their 10,000 ball game song. And I don't know what's worse, the song or the dances that the people do.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
so awkward.
That's for sure.
They bring like the cheerleaders on the field and they're in front of your dugout and they're like,
okay, Blue Jay. Do you know the French Canadian anthem? Can you sing that in French?
No, we haven't heard it that much this year. We heard it one time last series for the first time all year. Well, usually, like, there'll be the start of O Canada, and then they'll switch to French, and that really screw some people up that aren't used to it. And no, we haven't heard it that much this year. But French is tough. I don't know how many times I have to hear it to be able to say any of it.
It's majestic.
It's majestic. Hey, Whit, good stuff, dude.
Let me a quick Brady Singer story about the Canadian anthem. So we're standing his rookie year. Blue Jays come to us in Kansas City, and I'm standing beside him on the line, and it's a guy plays the trumpet a lot in Kansas City. Beautiful, does a great job. And so we're on the line, and when you're in America, they play O Canada first. When you're here, they play the Star Spangled Banner first. So anyway, we're on the line, and the guy starts playing. He's playing O Canada, and I'm beside Brady, and I can feel him like kind of squirming. And the song ends, and he looks at me, and he goes, "What the fuck was that?" The Canadian anthem. He goes, "Why were they playing the Canadian anthem?" I said, "We're playing the Blue Jays." He goes, "Yeah, but we're in America." And I was like, "Dude, just keep your hat on your heart. We'll get through the next song, and then you can figure it all out." Poor kid's got no idea.
Had he never been to like a game where, I don't know, in any sport, like your basketball team's playing the Raptors, like they do it for every sport.
Yeah.
So I guess
never left Eustis, Florida until he got to college.
Hey, take it easy. That's right up the street from me now.
Hey, there you go.
He's not too cultured.
Wait, I forgot. So this is actually last thing. Do you want to just give us like a little teaser about next time you join us, and probably you'll announce something in between that time period? Any news going on event-wise?
Yeah, I've been working for a few months now, not even a couple months. It's probably October on putting together this golf tournament for baseball players. Not like a charity event that a lot of guys get to play in, but like a legit, like you show up, golf tournament, there's a purse. We're trying to get it televised. It's gonna be a legit golf tournament for baseball players, because I know so many baseball players love to play golf. So been working on that, and hopefully have more details pretty soon. It's about to get wrapped up, and I'll be able to share more. But really excited about it. As big a golfer as I am, it's gonna be a cool event that I'm looking forward to being part of.
Hey, a friend of mine is doing something similar also.
Could be the same thing.
Might be the same thing. I don't know. We'll have to talk off the air. But
yeah,
there's a friend of mine that's doing one similar, but he's going to do it one retired player from a team and one active player from a team, and do a team thing.
You're trying to talk yourself into this thing?
No. I played enough charity golf.
You should broadcast it.
Yeah, now we're talking. Give me a mic and just let me run.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a cool. I think it's a cool concept because we're all competitors, and the charity events are awesome, and they raise a ton of money for a bunch of great causes. But the competitive drive of it isn't quite the same as if you pay an entry fee, and then there's a big prize pool at the end to go win. So
wait, who wins? McNeil, you? Who wins? McNeil, you? Gallon's pretty good, right?
I don't. From what I've heard, I'm not on the level of McNeil or a Hicks or those type of players.
Ian Happ.
Yeah.
So, but it'll be it's going to be the format of it'll be a partial handicap, so it'll try to level the playing field out a little bit, but there will be a net gross winner who will be crowned best
Now I
golfer.
want to squeeze my way in there.
That's
somehow.
cool. That's the match for baseball, though, because the match
Yeah,
hasn't
so-
gotten the baseball players involved, and they should. So they'll do their own thing. That's awesome.
Yeah. It'll be cool. So
All right.
we'll,
Well,
Where-
can't
where-
wait
wait,
to
where-
put them on.
it's gonna be big league.
Before I get my invite, I want to know where it's going to be at so I can plan my
Hey,
trip.
you can't tell everything
You can
yet.
give me a state.
It's gonna be at the Ritz-Carlton in Orlando. We do have that locked in.
I mean,
Oh, that's where we
man,
are.
it's amazing. I live right down the street from
What?
there. All right, well, we'll see you there. How do I tee off?
We'll be sending out like Gus, you get invited to the Masters, you get a nice letter. So we're gonna have like these really cool invitations sent to clubhouses and put on players' lockers, stuff like that. So
Cool.
Can we broadcast it though? Like, can we stream it on YouTube or something at least if it's not going on TV?
potentially we got to figure out what the TV deal is, and
Okay.
then we can talk.
Got our number. Good.
I'll talk to your dad. I'll make
Yes.
sure.
AJ's on it. AJ's spending the next 3 hours on this after the
Dad's
show.
got no pool. He's got no pool.
Good stuff, Whit, man. Enjoy, have
Yeah,
fun
good
with
luck
this
with that.
rivalry
Seriously, if we
series.
can help, let us know.
Yeah. Let us know if we can help, and then we'll talk more about it next time.
All right, guys, appreciate it.
Cheers, man. Appreciate you. Whit Merrifield from the Toronto Blue Jays joining us. Oh, and Jace Peterson coming up in a minute from the Oakland A's. So you're either going to be finding your way into that,
Oh, I'll be there. Somewhere.
broadcasting that, showing up. I'll be there too. I'll be there at least just like drinking and hanging out.
Yeah, heckling. I'll be the guy in
Heckling?
Happy Gilmore. I had to hit it off Frankenstein's fat foot.
I had to hit it off of Przynski's front lawn.
Yeah. Well, I'm not that close to the Ritz, but I'm not far.
We've got our operations down here. Why we should broadcast it if
Yeah.
it's not already being broadcasted elsewhere. So
That's it. Listen, if it's current players, people will tune into that because I know when I play in those tournaments that are broadcast on TV, people tune in because they want to see athletes suck at something, and they tune in to watch people suck at golf
or dominate.
Or
like,
good.
Isn't Steph Curry incredible too, golfer?
Okay, so
You have a power rankings?
no, let's take the LPGA one I play at the Hilton Grand Vacations tournament in Orlando. That's over at Lake Nona. Marty Fish won this year. He shot, I think, 7 or 8 under. He lost to the LPGA girl, like she's out like 20 under. Marty Fish is like the best amateur golfer, athlete guy there is. Even in Dallas, Tony Romo won, but he would have lost to the senior champions guy, the invited one I played in a couple weeks ago. He would have lost to the senior guy by a bunch of strokes.
So what you're saying is there's still a massive
There's
gap.
a massive gap. And let's take Tony Romo. He's tried to play in these tournaments. John Smoltz. They can't even come close to making the cut. And they finished DFL when they try these things. It's a completely different animal.
Which technically is how it should be because
Yes.
those are professionals. They play every second, although some of the baseball players play every second too. But still, I know what you're saying. So you keep them out of it. Because if you keep that playing field all to the baseball players, then you don't know who's really good and not. You're like, oh, this is the winner, right?
I was just interested because he said you have to buy your way in. So you have to pay like money.
To go in.
Yeah.
Well, until I help them with sponsorships, because I'm pretty good at
I'm
that.
kind of thinking, man, the guy I know that's trying to do one of these, they should collaborate. You can get this done pretty quick.
Yeah, you don't want rival leagues.
No, but plus he knows all the TV people because he's the one that started 2 of these now.
Mm-hmm.
So he could kind of make this happen.
I think it's a great idea.
And the
I think
Ritz
it's
is
awesome.
Yeah, and the Ritz is where they play that father-son tournament already. So
You remember when they had all the athletes, like they would bring in like Herschel Walker, Larry Bird, and they would do sprints. They do like decathlete stuff. And it was back in like the 80s.
yeah, the superstars. Come on, in Hawaii.
Superstars.
Yeah.
Yes. Like to me, people would love to see that stuff, but everyone's so worried about getting hurt. You get out on the golf course, I think it would be awesome in a competitive environment like what Whit was saying.
And allow shit talking. Mic them up and allow shit talking. Oh, it'd be
sure.
great. It'd be awesome. It'd be, yes.
Well, it's happening. Whit's working on it, which is really cool. Let's bring in our next guest from the Oakland A's, Jace Peterson, joining us on FT Live. Jace, how you doing? Where you at? I like that. Looks like a little sunshine before game time.
Yeah, how's it going, fellas? I'm at the house, just kind of sitting back, enjoying the view of beautiful Walnut Creek out here. So it's a good little afternoon.
There you go.
He's changed.
Why?
Because
What's
when I
changed?
played with him, he didn't even have a view. He just never left his room, stuck in his apartment. Now look at him. He has a big mansion out in Walnut Creek.
That's because y'all made us walk to the field, ride taxis, man. We couldn't be on the bus. Games changed. Games changed.
Games changed.
Yeah,
You've changed it, Chase. You've changed it.
Man, I'm just kind of going with the flow, man. But I tell you what, back coming up with all you guys and kind of watching how y'all went about it and the way y'all did it, man, it was special for me. And I enjoyed those times, but just kind of going with the flow and going with how the game's going.
You're the veteran now, Jace. You're the veteran on this A's
For
team.
sure.
So before we get into the interview, I have to send a public apology. The other day I told a story about the ghost, okay? It wasn't Jace. It was
What?
Shelby Miller. Jace and Johnny Gomes. No, I got it confused. Jace and Johnny Gomes were the ones that punked Shelby Miller. So I had Jace in the story, but I said Jace was the one that left the room, but it was Jace and Johnny Gomes that punked Shelby Miller. So I'll let Jace tell the real
Pfister
story.
Hotel.
At the Pfister
Just
Hotel.
for everyone that's just joining the party here and wasn't on listening to the show the other day. Yeah, this was like a quarter of the interview planned in my brain was, I got to get the story from Jace. AJ was like, I don't even think he knows about it still to this day that we tried to spook him at the
I
Pfister.
wasn't involved. I just heard that's why.
The
Yeah,
team did.
yeah.
Right. At the Pfister Hotel, which is weird and haunted in Milwaukee. And the other day, Mookie Betts was like, I'm not staying there. I'm getting an Airbnb. Then he homers. So now everyone's probably going to do it. But Jace, let's hear your side of the story because you were the one that pulled the prank off.
Man, so I had talked to Johnny Gomes. Shelby at the time, he was one of the best pitchers in the league that year. I'm pretty sure it was 2015. And in the locker room, I had grabbed Shelby's key, and me and Johnny kind of had a little plan like, hey, look, I'll get his key. You go in his room. And AJ was along a lot of the lines that were pretty correct. Johnny was lighting candles and smearing smoke and char all over the mirror in the bathroom, and goes back in there. Shelby walks in there. Shelby ended up coming to sleep in my room that night, so I never left the hotel. But it was a good prank. It was really funny, and Shelby was pretty scared, so it was cool.
Did you tell him afterward? Did you let it sit for a
we
while?
we let it sit until we left the series. I think we did it the second game of the series, so we let it sit for the whole series. And then when he left, he was pretty upset, but he had a good laugh at it.
Did he retaliate?
He never did retaliate. That wasn't how he was going to do it. Because if he would have retaliated, the retaliation of his retaliation would have been worse for sure.
Yeah. With Johnny Gomes? Yeah. Do you know Johnny Gomes?
Yeah.
Johnny Gomes would have blew up his house or something.
He's not losing that battle ever.
No. Johnny's the last laugh guy.
Oh,
For sure.
Incredible. Okay, so now team-wise, unique situation. How is it being a veteran on a squad that's in rebuild mode and a bunch of young dudes?
Honestly, we have a bunch of good players in that room. Obviously, I feel like baseball's a long season. It takes a little while for everybody to kind of find their role, fit into where they kind of go about it. And each day that kind of just happens over a long process. So I feel like that's kind of where we're at right now. Obviously, we could be better in all aspects of the game, but we have a lot of young guys with a lot of talent. I think Rooker is leading the league in OPS, if I'm not mistaken. Ruiz is up there, if not leading the league in stolen bases. So there's a lot of talent on this team. There's a lot of other stuff going on that we can't really control as players with all the move and the Vegas situation, and fans aren't too happy about that. So it's never fun when you hear them in the crowd kind of giving it to the owners, and it's just a little bit of a weird situation. But for us, our job is to show up and play baseball and try to win games, and that's kind of what we're focused on, trying to get better each day and trying to win games each day. And hasn't really gone our way so far, but it's a long season, so we'll see if we can turn it around.
Tell Roke I said hi and that he's got to come on the show. And has he broken down and cried yet? Because he's a crier. If you don't know that about him.
Brent Rooker,
I did not know that, Kratzy, but I haven't seen it yet. But I'll be on the lookout for sure. I'll have to mention it to him today when I get to the field.
Okay. And then when you're the like AJ said, all of a sudden now you're the veteran. You still look like you're like 23 years old. So congrats on that part. But how do you talk to these guys about winning? How do you talk to them about winning when you don't feel like necessarily everybody's above you guys in the front office is necessarily like, hey, here's a team that you guys go win with. Like as a veteran, you have to you command that respect because of what you've done in your career. But how do you talk to these guys about that?
Man, I think that's the hard part. I think there's a fine line between kind of going to the field every day and expecting a win. I feel like winning is something earned. Winning is something that you put the work in. You continue to have that mindset each day and go about it. But, you know, all we can really control and all we can do is our preparation. We can continue to go out there and play as a team, continue to try to go get wins and just lay it out there on the field each day. And for me, it's just trying to win each day, not getting caught ahead of, hey, who we got next series or who's pitching tomorrow, just trying to be in the moment, trying to win each day and just trying to stack wins together. So for me, it's just the mindset of kind of communicating, hey, let's be good today and let's win today and we'll worry about tomorrow. So for me, it's just taking it each day, one day at a time and one pitch at a time really throughout the game and just trying to make plays and have good at bats and stack them up on each other.
I'm sure the front office or whoever is not talking to the players about like the situation, but do players talk about like following the Vegas side of the team just because it's in the news all the time? I'm not saying even just like on the negative side of what's going on with ownership and treatment of Oakland, but just more along the lines of like moving forward. You're on a 2-year deal. Like you could play in the AAA Vegas ballpark next year, depending on how it all plays out. So have you guys talked about that stuff within the ball club?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's no secret. The media's talking about it. The fans that are at the game are screaming and talking about it. So it's kind of one of those things that it's in the room and people know it, and you're trying to kind of avoid it and just go about your business. But it could be a distraction, and sometimes it gets frustrating to always be asked about it. Quite frankly, for us, we're looking forward to playing baseball each day, no matter where it's at. It's big league games. It's hard to win in the big leagues. It's hard to get big league wins. There's some really talented guys and some really talented teams. So we can't get caught up in where we're going to play next year or whatever the case may be. We're just focusing on wherever we're at. We're trying to win big league ball games. And that's kind of the mindset that I'm taking.
You're such a veteran now. Gosh, you're just such a veteran with some of these answers. I'm just trying to be every day. And dude, Vegas? Come on. Vegas would be so fun. Think about
it would
that.
Be
Vegas?
Sick.
It'd be awesome.
It would be sick. It would be sick. And I'm not saying it wouldn't be, but who knows? You know how baseball is. You could be on one team one day and the next day you're on another team. So, I mean, for me, I'm just trying to go one day at a time. And Vegas would be pretty cool. No question about it. But I try not to get that far ahead and try not to think that far ahead, to be honest.
Jace, come on, man. Look, dude, like, I know where you came from. I know you grinded it. Listen, like, you got a 2-year deal. You got a 2-year deal. What did that feel like when somebody put that on the table? Like, you're a free agent. How many minor league free agents? You re-signed with the Yankees, I think, like 3 times one season. Like,
man, so yeah, my it's a blessing. My career, obviously, at the beginning of it, drafted by San Diego, traded to Atlanta, was there 15, 16, 17, and then up for arbitration. You guys know how that works. And up for arbitration, non-tendered. So I signed minor league deals 18, 19, 20, 21. And yeah, there was times where you're frustrated with the business of it, and you're a good player and you're in the big leagues every year, but that's just the business. And for me, I never tried to get caught up in that. I just tried to focus on each day. And fortunately, 22 had a ARB deal with Milwaukee, and I enjoyed my time there. And then after that, Oakland called with a 2-year deal. So yeah, it's a blessing, and I'm excited to be here. But it's definitely been a long road, and I feel like everything in this game, as you guys know, when you're play this game for that long, man, any kind of multi-year deals, that's a big deal. So it was definitely big for me and the family, and I'm excited about it.
Jace, were there ever times where you were like, screw this, because you don't feel like you're getting the shot that you deserve? Like, I'm going to look to do something else, or even for you? I mean, I remember you were a freaking athlete in college going, maybe I should have played like QB or even safety and gone for it in the NFL.
Yeah, I feel like the biggest point for me and kind of with that was in 2020. Obviously, the COVID situation kind of shut it down. Nobody knew what we were going to do, if we were going to have a season, whether or not we're going to play at all. So I remember going home and kind of thinking about it, and I had reached out to some guys who one of my good buddies in the NFL, Deontay Spencer, he's with the Jets right now, but he was with the Denver Broncos at the time, and just kind of reached out to him and talked to him about what those guys make. And I don't think guys realize it, but man, those guys on the practice squad in the NFL make a pretty good living. So that was something that me and my wife had talked about for a little bit in 2020, just because I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And then obviously baseball kind of got back rolling. So that's the route I went. But I love football. I think that football is probably my favorite sport, no question. I love Sundays when in the off season when you can turn on the Sunday ticket and watch some NFL games. So I love watching those guys compete and go at it on the football field for sure. And definitely there was times in my career where I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I just tried that's my mindset going back to taking it day by day, man, for real. That's kind of what I try to go about and what I do and enjoy each day and try to just take it one day at a time.
As I tell everybody, if you were on the 2015, 2016, especially Braves, you thought about quitting many times. Trust me, it was baby.
I was young and kind of just coming up into it, obviously, as you know. But man, those years were fun for me. I got to play with you, Johnny Gomes, Jason Grillies, Jeff Rancourt, Kelly Johnson, Jim Johnson. I mean, I could go on and on with so many guys that I played with that I got to watch, who I watched growing up, and them do their thing, and then to be able to be on that team and be teammates with them was pretty special. And just to see how y'all went about it and how y'all treated the rookies and kind of laid down the ground rules for me and the rest of the rookies when we were coming up, I feel like that was one of the funnest points of my career, no doubt.
Yeah, poor Jace. He had me, Johnny Gomes.
That's a lot of veteran
Jim
personality.
Johnson, Grilly. Freddie was still like a young guy back then. Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
Core Frenchie comes in, Kelly. We had a lot of veterans, but we were not very good.
Salty.
Nick Swisher was over there. Michael
I
Bourne
forgot about
came over there.
Swish,
We
yeah.
had tons of guys.
Oh,
Tons of guys.
Saltalamacchia, is that what you're saying,
No.
Kratzy?
No, they were all salty veterans. Just salty. Ugh.
Yeah.
We weren't that mean to him. We didn't really.
No, you guys were more pissed because a
Jace.
lot of you had a lot of winning in your life, and then you guys weren't winning.
Man,
No.
I forget the guy's name. We had a lefty pitcher, and I feel terrible. I'm forgetting his name, but I remember.
O'Flaherty?
No. It was a rookie. He had posted a picture on Instagram of him like posing with the shirt off. And
Oh, what
I
was that
remember
dude's-
coming.
Oh my gosh, what was that guy's name?
God, I cannot.
He had
remember, but
he
I
wore
remember-
glasses.
Yes.
And he was like this
Yes.
with his shirt off. He's like, I'm jacked.
This is 2016.
15 or
Yes.
Which
15 or 16.
15 or
15 or
16.
All right,
16.
while you're
Jace,
talking,
while
give me
Scott,
5 seconds.
While Scott finds that, what was
Yes.
the worst thing that AJ did to you while you were a rookie there?
Oh man, well, probably in New York wearing a pink Speedo and flippers and everything that you could imagine that a swimmer wears, and dropping me off 12 blocks away from the hotel and making me walk as the bus just crept along. That was probably one of the worst things that I had to do, no question.
Hey, in
and
your
AJ kind of
defense,
led that up.
hey, in your defense, there was 23 of you guys walking the street in the same outfit. So we took all
Yeah.
we put them in swim outfits. So we took
Yeah,
the Americans and put them in one outfit, and then we took the non-Americans, mostly Latin guys,
Yeah.
and but they were different, but they were all swim
Yeah.
caps, goggles, Speedos, tank tops. And we're like, okay, guys, see you at the hotel. And we dropped them off. It was like 3 blocks. It was still in the middle of New York.
Hey, my
the
feet were
bus-
still bleeding from those slippers. That wasn't 3 blocks.
And the bus just creaked along next to them as they were walking, and everyone just stops and looks like, what is happening? But it's New York, so they don't pay that much attention.
New York? No. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
that
a
is
lot,
fact.
lot of crazy shit going on.
A lot
in
of
New
stuff
York.
going on for sure.
Yeah.
Marksberry was the guy's name.
Marksberry?
Yeah,
Marks-
Marksberry. Yep. Yep.
Marksberry. I mean, he had a long career.
Oh, Matt Marksberry.
Matt Marksberry. He had a long career.
No, he did not.
I remember
Jason.
that though. We came in the clubhouse. AJ has it on. He's got the club. He's having it on every TV. It's printed out on everybody's locker, just blowing him up. Oh my God, I'll never forget
Dude, the guy
that.
had 2 days in the big leagues. He's posing
I know,
topless
I know.
on his Instagram.
I know.
Like, hey, look
I
at
know.
me, guys. I'm jacked. I'm a big rookie guy. He has glasses on. Braves hat. We're like,
35 appearances. He
There you
made
go.
31 appearances in 2015, 4 appearances in 2016, which is the year you're talking about, because he probably was so dejected.
no,
from
I
the-
think it was 20. I think it was 2015.
It was 2015, yeah. Well, that makes sense. Everyone's always got an AJ story, so not
Yeah.
surprised.
Jace, have you recovered from the sprint you made the other day when you made that catch?
Yes, of course, man. Of course. It's all good. I mean, honestly, the bullpen did a great job of letting me know the mound was there. Obviously, you know it's there if you're playing here, but for me, the ball's going up and just trying to go make a play. I was able to hear those guys kind of holler out the mound's coming and able to keep my foot and make the play.
How many times have you watched it back?
Oh, I had a lot of buddies send it to me, so I've probably seen it, I don't know, 10 times or so.
Do you have a dig me highlight video kind of thing where, let's say you're slumping or you just need to pick me up? You're like, all right, let me check that play out again. Okay.
Man, that'll be on the list for sure.
Yeah.
For me, I'm not a huge video guy. I don't really like to watch and break down a whole bunch of video. I try to keep it simple, be athletic in the box, and let it rip. And That's kind of my mindset. If I get too much, and these days there's so much analytical stuff out there, you can go down the rabbit hole and be looking at video or breaking down things for hours. So I try not to go there.
Do you have so the A's are most likely out of playoff contention. Have you gone to Kotsay and said, I have never caught an inning, but I've played every other position. Do you get an inning? And does he say yes?
A lot of people have asked me that, Crassy. I don't even know if I really want to do that. I mean, I don't feel like going back there behind the plate and trying to catch 95, 98 miles an hour. That's not something that I'm really interested in doing. In an emergency, I will, but that's not something that I'm trying to do unless we're really in a bad situation.
You got the security of a 2-year deal. You don't have to worry about getting hurt. You pitched the other day. Like, how many guys on 2-year deals are pitching?
Hey, I'll go do that. That's fun. I can do that. But going to catch 98 and 100, I don't know how you guys did that for so long. That's a different animal there.
Hey, how many strikeouts you have? How many strikeouts?
Ooh, I got 3 punchies. 3 punchies.
Kratz, how many you got?
3.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Wow.
Austin Barnes, Eugenio Suarez, and Brandon Belt.
Wow.
Wow. Who are Jace's? Jace, who are your punchies?
Man, I know I got Christian Velasquez when I pitched with Baltimore.
Christian Vasquez, the catcher?
You mean the catcher?
Yeah, Vasquez,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
I got Sosa with the Phillies, and then a couple pitchers. I might have 4. Now. I think I got one this year too, but a couple pitchers. A couple of them didn't swing, so easy punchies.
Oh, man.
How many innings you got, Jace?
Ooh, 4 or 5, something like that. 4 or
I'm
5.
surprised you don't have this
sure.
memorized. Some of these guys, especially with their, joke pitching stats, are like they're rattling everything off. They
but he's
go
pitched so many
sequence
times
through
now.
sequence. I know.
It's
but
not.
like
It's not a
sequence
good
through
thing when I'm out there on the mound. It's never a good thing. So I try to forget those days, to be honest.
sequence.
5 innings pitched, apparently.
5 innings?
5
Is that what
innings
it is?
you have.
There you go.
I gave up a bomb to Devers in Boston, though. My God, he almost hit that red chair that's up there.
You've given up. So 5 innings, 8 earnings.
It's not
Eight
good.
Yeah,
That's not
a
good
lot of
ERA.
those were in Boston too. I feel like I gave up 6 runs that day. It felt like.
2 homers. Who was the other homer? Devers and who?
Man, it was this year. Duran with the Rangers.
Ah.
Oh, Ezekiel.
Yeah,
And 4 strikeouts,
Yep.
I was told.
4 punchies.
So I've got one more for you from Garrett. Have you ever been on the field for a perfect game or a no-hitter at any level of baseball?
Yeah, we got no hit. Well, in Milwaukee, we got no hit against the Cubs, and then we also no hit the Indians on a combined no hitter with Josh. It was Hader and Corbin. So I would have been a part of 2, one defensively and one offensively.
Oh, there you go.
And you were 1 out away from Shelby Miller throwing one into Miami.
We were.
Stupid Shelby.
Golly.
On that
Justin
He
team,
was
Bohr.
elite that year.
you guys have
Yep.
a lot of stories from that year.
Well, we did a lot of fun stuff. We
Yeah.
weren't very good, but we did a lot of fun stuff as a unit. Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was good.
after that year, then you started getting in trouble. If you treated the rookies too bad, you start getting in trouble.
Did you hear about AJ's Phantom IL stint?
He was there. 2016.
Oh, I
Yeah.
was there. Yep.
Yeah. So do
I
you?
was there.
What's your analysis on the entire ordeal? Because it went kind of viral when AJ told it the other day that he was like, "Yeah, I got to go on the IL," and he was trying to pick the injury and went for anal fissures and got denied.
It was only one fissure. It wasn't fissures with an S.
Well,
okay?
that's what everyone's been saying online.
I know, but it's just I corrected
one
him.
fissure.
It was one fissure.
I
Jace was there.
remember AJ being pretty upset about it, and then I feel like he started sending pictures of him hunting or on the beach or fishing or something.
Yeah, it was.
I don't think it was he was mad and upset at it at first, but then he started kind of living life a little bit, hunting and fishing or doing the beach life, and I think he got over it pretty quick.
Yeah, so they sent me home,
Yeah.
and they were in the middle of the game, and I was sending pictures from my pool, drinking a beer.
Mhm.
Like in the
I'm like,
team chat.
I'm like, hope you guys are having a great game. And I'm like this with the sunset, like, ah.
That's ridiculous.
Why? I wasn't hurt.
No, I know. Right. You're saying he was upset, Jace, because he wanted to be there, right?
he did want to be there, and I think all the guys obviously at this level are super competitors, and I think some situations in this game when you get put in situations like that, it's never fun for the player. It's frustrating for the player, and at first you're really upset about it and wish you could change it, and then you realize it doesn't matter what you want to do and how you feel, that the game don't care and the business side don't care, and then you're just like, all right, well, screw it, I'm gonna go do what I want to do anyway.
Yeah, and you're doing okay right now.
I'm survived. All right, Jace. Before we let you go, I just want to show you this photo before we go. Okay, you ready? Might want to cover your eyes.
I'm ready. Wow. Yep, there she is.
Wow.
There she is. Man, what a time! What a time.
We need a locator.
He's next to Christian Bethencourt.
What a time.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's balling right now in Tampa.
I know. Matt Whistler's in there somewhere.
Yep. Yep.
Who's the guy second from the right with the American flag?
Giving the piece? Williams Perez. Wasn't that Williams Perez?
Yep. Williams Perez.
Yeah.
Wow. That looks like, man. Do you know what that looks like?
Adonis Garcia, not Adolis Garcia. Adonis Garcia's brothers in that picture.
Wow. They look just alike too.
Right?
Dude, yeah.
They look just alike.
That looks like a scene from the movie Dodgeball.
And Mark Sperry's in the middle. Mark Sperry's
there he is on the knee. Yep, there he is.
Yeah, there he is.
Practicing for the Instagram shoots. Wow, that's good. I'm glad we stalled to get that in there. Perfect placement. Great way to end it. Hey, Jace, awesome catching up with you, man. We appreciate the time, dude, and have fun. Keep doing your thing.
Man, I appreciate y'all having me, and look forward to getting especially y'all out there at the ranch, man. Let's go make some content and shoot some pigs and get some deer or something.
I'm in, dude. You know me. I'm in. Let's do it.
Yeah, you and Kratzy come out and we'll make it happen.
Hell yeah.
Kill it up.
Let's do it.
All right,
I'm with you.
I'd love to see Scott pull a bow back.
I told you I'll go.
You'll go?
Yeah, you told me.
Jace,
we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
Jersey boy Scott, he's like, I'm gonna mess up my hair.
I'm rugged. I'll wear my foul territory hat. I'll be good to go. They'll never see me.
All right. All right, buddy. Thank you.
Cheers, Jace.
Have a good one, guys. Appreciate
you too. Later. You go every couple of weeks, and you haven't invited me yet, but you're like, I'm not. Here's my main problem. I work before the show.
No, you go in the afternoon. We can go right after this.
Okay. I'm down. I will go soon.
I need video of that. I need video of Scotty Braun gutting that pig and just blood all down his arm.
Putting the blood on his face.
You eat it though, right?
You can if you want to.
What, you guys just do it for no reason?
Well, no, they're bad for the crops.
Okay.
So pigs root the crops, right? So you plant these.
They're not bacon pigs.
You can make bacon out of them.
You can? Okay.
Yeah, there's wild. So you plant these big fields for deer, okay, and you fence them, and then the pigs break through the fence because they want to eat the good food, not the random stuff. And they come in there and they root the crops. So you got to keep the population down.
So AJ to the rescue. Saving Orlando.
Saving Orlando, one pig at a time, one wild boar at a time.
Oh, man.
I would love to see that.
I will come experience it.
You've never been in the woods, have you?
Yeah, my house in the backyard is full of woods. That you want to see the
I'm
largest?
Talking like sitting in a tree stand for a couple hours.
No, I have not done that. I do have a little bit of attention issues, so
you have your phone. Your phone will work.
You can use the phone and hang out until there's something cool coming. Okay, fine. I'm good with that. I'll be like firing off sales emails, like, "Hey, want to sponsor Foul Territory? I'm about to shoot a pig and eat bacon." But Warren, New Jersey. If you ever want to see a deer, like it would be hilarious if someone who hadn't seen a deer before and they're like going around my rando small town in Jersey and like, "Oh, wow." I'm like, no, like there's more deer than humans in the town that I grew up in. They're everywhere, like almost to a dangerous extent where you'd be driving and there.
You ever hit one with your car?
No, but close calls I would say over under close calls, 14.5. I mean, there were accidents. There's probably accidents every day in that town from deer. Literally, they just live on the street. It's like watching Yuri Perez with his first strikeout. They're just all hanging out on the street, the fam that's taking up the street. You got to backtrack to see what I'm talking about for that. Let's win some money, shall we? Or at least some of us. Time for our locks. Presented by Bet MGM. Let's go backwards to Friday. Yeah, how you doing? Got to get back on the board. You go minus 155 and get it done.
I got to give
Why?
props because the one day he bet like $500 to win a bunch.
He nailed it.
He nailed it.
Yeah.
It was a no-run first inning. Rays Yankees.
Rays Yanks. He nailed it.
I wasn't here on Friday.
Those two with Texas didn't work
mad
out.
credit for Kratz for that one.
Yeah, you were great on Friday. But
Needed
Baltimore was losing late 2-1. And then they were like, oh, wait, we're really good on offense. And they blasted them. Cedric Mullins had a cycle that people were flipping out. So, yeah, I watched that one. And I was like, getting a little worried. Oviedo was good. And, forgetting who was on the other side of that pitching matchup. But he was good, too. And then all of a sudden.
Was it Kramer?
No, it wasn't Kramer. I'll have it for you.
On which one?
For the O's game.
Oh, the O's game.
Bradish?
No. Shoot. I tailed you on that one in real life, not on our locks. And
Yeah, it was Bradish. And and he was good.
You guys are like, no, it wasn't Bradish. It was Bradish.
and so at that point, I don't know what it looked like over the weekend, but they were 17-4 as the favorite. That's a trend. That is what we call a trend.
Trendy.
So let's fast forward, shall we? And let's do our Bet MGM locks for Monday because I'm picking on another trend. The Cardinals swept the Red Sox over the weekend. They played Sunday night baseball, which is something I want to focus on because last year I picked on it and it worked out really well. Trend popping up again. You play Sunday night baseball, you hit the road. Teams are 1-4 in those scenarios on Mondays. Follow the trend. Jack Flaherty on the mound with his good buddy Wilson Contreras. So obviously I'm watching that game anyway. And Freddie Peralta on the other side. And it's basically a pick'em. I was shocked. And I know the Cardinals are playing good ball, and now the offense is starting to light it up. But the Brewers swept KC over the weekend. Full menu Freddie looks good, and I'll take that pitching matchup all day. And Cardinals and Brewers bullpen, different in terms of identity, but somewhat similar results. So I feel like that's a toss-up on my front. Like I'm not weighing one way or another. Only thing that could cause a problem is I think there was some rain issues there, but minus 115. I'll throw down 115 for a hundo.
Okay.
Tailing that.
That was a lot. That was a lot of information.
I want to make sure
digest.
people feel confident about what they're doing.
I agree with the Sunday night baseball thing because I did look at the game.
Yeah.
But I think people are feeling overconfident on the Cardinals because they just swept the Red Sox, whereas the Brewers swept the Royals, and they're obviously in different tax brackets as far as winning games.
Yep.
So I think people are probably overreacting to the Cardinals because if you think about it, if you just look at the starting pitching numbers, the Brewers should be favored in this game. And
they are like,
yeah,
it's minus 115 versus 105. It's basically a toss-up. And I was like, I thought it was going to be heavier for me to have to go down. I was expecting at least 125. So I'll take it. And maybe the line's moved, but that's what I threw down.
Okay.
What are you doing?
I'm going Hunter Green's pitching against Colorado and 5.5 Ks. He's going to punch out 8. 5.5 against Colorado? Colorado just won 4-0. They're all hyped up. They're all, we fought Bryce Harper. Guess what? Here comes 100 with a 90-mile-an-hour slide ball.
In Colorado, though.
I don't care. Colorado strikes out over 8 times a game. Hunter Green strikes out like 12 guys a game.
How does the slide ball look in Colorado?
100.
100. Yeah.
That's how the slide ball looks.
Yeah.
Here comes 102, boys.
Mm-hmm.
Air's thinner. It goes faster.
I like it. So throwing down, that's minus 140.
Minus 140. It's a little bit bigger, but that was the one thing that stood out to me because I always look. I know you're not supposed to look at starting pitching matchups, but as an ex-player, I always look at. And there was no run line or money line that really kind of just stood out at me. So Hunter Green, that seems like a low number for me.
140 for 100.
Yeah.
Okay. Kratz, are you going big, or are you just kind of cruising along now?
I'm going to cruise with my 200. Well, I think it's actually a $210 bet, but I'm going back to my no-run first inning with the Mets and the Nats. The Mets were the one because they're facing Corbin. It's Corbin versus Peterson.
Oof.
And I'm like, Corbin. I don't know if I like that or not. Versus lefties on the road in the first inning, the Mets have a slash line of 165, 248, and 198 slug in the first inning this year. So I'm getting it at 110, so I'm putting 220 down to win myself 200.
Okay. Now,
Pete Alonso just took that personally. Bro.
Yeah, and I'm your friend, but I'm fading that.
So you're taking the over?
I'll go yes runs first inning on that one. Yeah, I don't think the Mets offense is this bad. And I mean, we saw that on Sunday. I actually watched that whole inning, and I was watching with my brother-in-law who hasn't watched a ton of games this year, and he was like, I thought the game sped up. I was like, no, this inning's a mess.
Oh, the one inning where they
That
scored
one
like
inning
8
was
runs?
so
Yeah.
freaking slow where they got to Cole Irvin and then 1 or 2 bullpen guys, Mason Thompson's in. I was like, and then I showed him, I went to Sunday Night Baseball, and I was like, this is how it is now. And he's like, oh, this is great. So anyway, we'll see. We'll see. We'll be talking tomorrow. It's Bet 10, get a hundo instantly. And here's how you can get it done. Sign up and deposit at least $10 into your newly created Bet MGM Sportsbook account. Get the app on iOS or Android. You place a pregame moneyline wager of at least $10 on any MLB team to win at standard odds price, and you get $100 in bonus bets instantly if you're brand new on the app. So if you sign up in Massachusetts or Ohio, you're special. You get $200 in bonus bets. Got to use the bonus code SPICYMLB. Always bet responsibly. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Okay. Two other things I wanted to get to before slap hands, but let's do it like a minute each so we don't go crazy overtime because we have a busy week. So I've got you guys hustling, including we have this live Twitter spaces we're going to do. I'll tell you more about it tomorrow. But I do want to get to 2 New York topics because we barely touched both New York teams. First off, Yankees and Rays. Awesome series. They've played 7 times over the last 10 days. 6 of those 7 games, 1-run games. Comebacks, like just entertaining ball this weekend. Rizzo bobblehead day, 2 homers. You had McClanahan up big, and then Judge just bashed him like MVP status back into that game in the middle of the game. Like in 2 innings, all of a sudden they caught up from down 6-0. And then Sunday went Tampa Bay's way. So just a really fun series. And the one other thing news-wise was Drew Rasmussen shoved on Thursday, and they split that series 2-2. And then the next day, he's got the forearm issue. And I mean, I'm not going to play doctor, but often that issue leads to a potential Tommy John situation, which is what just happened to Jeffrey Springs. I was saying to Jason Atten, who closed the game and was freaking out because he thought Judge homered on Sunday. But anyway, I just feel like this happens with the Rays more than most teams.
Well, what we talked about earlier in the show, they're the king of give us an inning, give us 2 innings, we're going to throw the crap out of you. And then when something goes wrong, guess what? We'll find someone else who can do the same thing at a different. So it's a weird situation for the Rays, but they just keep pulling dudes in, and they find out what guys can do special, and they highlight that. And then once their time has come, or they make too much money, they move on to the next guy and find him.
But that's not working, Kratzy, in my mind. And you have experience playing there. Are they finding out what they're doing well and then hitting on that too hard? Like, what is causing more of an injury epidemic with their team for pitchers versus others?
I mean, you would definitely say the overusage is a thing, but they're not getting guys that are having more appearances than anybody else. I think Fairchild's probably, is it Fairchild? Who's the closer, the guy that never blinks?
Fairbanks,
thank you. He's one guy that's kind of stayed relatively healthy for that team, but they just keep running guys out there. Yes, exactly like you said. They have their, hey, this is your honey hole. You're going to stay there. You're just going to throw this pitch. But to me, what I saw playing against them, and then while I was there, it was like, as many times as you see guys come out in the game, you're also warming up that many times because there's so many opportunities that your spot in the lineup is coming up. So if you're using a bullpen day and you don't have a long guy because he only lasts 2 or 3 innings, now every time that the 3, 4, 5 spot or 6, 7, 8 spot, wherever your sweet spot for 3 guys is coming up, they're having you warm up. And a lot of these guys are guys that they're finding from other places that weren't doing well. Yes, they just picked up Diekman. He's a veteran. But if you're a younger guy that's trying to establish himself, you maybe haven't figured out how to stay healthy in the big leagues and not overextend yourself in your warmups. So some of these guys are doing this, and it's tough to see. It's tough to see, but there's no answer. It's only theories.
And Fairbanks, by the way, as our smart chat pointed out, 2 TJs before the Rays got him. And he also had the elbow issue that he's, I think, back today.
Didn't he have like the thing where he can't feel his fingers or something? Isn't
Oh,
that
yes.
him in the cold weather? Like he can't feel his fingers and his toes or some strange thing he has?
Yeah.
Like circulation?
No, he has a condition.
It's a condition, yeah.
Trisha Whitaker was talking about it the other day.
And I heard Cash talk about it the other day, too, their skipper.
He
So
pitched
I know what
somewhere
you're
and it was cold, and
Yeah.
he said, "Why didn't you use Fairbanks?" And he said, "Well, it's cold. He can't feel his split because
It's like
he
a nerve
loses-
condition.
Yeah, something. Yeah,
And they're like, we don't have to worry about it now for a while, but
Mhm.
then they'll have to revisit it again, obviously, when it gets colder. So, yeah, there's a lot of arm issues there. Obviously, they said Shane Baz, Tommy John. There's been a ton of guys that, like, remember Yanni Chirinos was good, and a lot
Honeywell.
of guys. Honeywell, yes, who's resurfaced with the Padres. So it sucks. I'm just saying that, to me, that's the biggest problem with the Rays, is that they're talented, they're good, but they lose so many. This has been going on for years. They lose so much of their pitching staff by the
But
time we get to the end of the year.
How many do they lose? Like to me, I'd love to see the numbers of, like AJ said earlier, like, oh, well, injuries are still, are more. I forget exactly what you said, AJ. I want to see those numbers. What is the actual, like, how many injuries? Who has the most pitching injuries, and who, are arm injuries down across baseball? Because if they're not, somebody figure it out and do something different than all this, like, oh, baby, don't throw them too long. Maybe it's about how much more can you throw.
Theories like Toasty said, arm angle altering, new grips. Guys usually go there. That is like the let's switch shit up place, isn't it? For a lot of guys.
We showed Matt Whistler in that picture of. He went there and threw 100% sliders, 99% sliders. He was a starter and he was okay, kind of bounced around. But then he goes to Tampa and he finds himself because how? They're like, you're just throwing every pitch as a slider. Every pitch you're throwing, and then every pitch is a slider.
Worked.
It did for a little while.
Temporarily. By the way, Raynaud's disease causes some areas of the body, such as fingers and toes, to feel numb and cold in response to cold temperatures or stress. So, I don't know, just a lot going on there, and it sucks for the Rays. That's like the underlying part, though, of their hot start, is they got to keep pitching healthy. That's the thing. They're not buying big-ass pitchers in the offseason. So, and they pump out pitching prospects. Just saying. All right, one more thing I want to hit on before slap hands is running the Nats-Mets debacle from the weekend, 4+ hour rain delay. And I think it was covered perfectly on the Mets station, SNY, with Gary Cohen, Ron Darling, and Keith Hernandez. They were like, screw this. This is ridiculous. They've got job security. You want to talk job security? They're like, we're throwing the league under the bus. So let's run it. All right, we're in hearing it, but I'll try it again in a sec. Okay. They made everyone wait there
4 hours.
For 4 hours.
The players were probably gone. So you know how many times it's happened where when I was playing, you would know what time the game was canceled. We'd be out and gone, and the people are still sitting in the stands.
Really?
Yeah, because they wouldn't tell the people.
Why?
Money,
Say it.
Money. Because they're buying beer, selling concessions.
That is so fucked
wrong.
up.
But not after 4 hours.
Oh, 4 hours is ridiculous. And then the thing
No.
that got me about the 4 hours, they played a split doubleheader the next day. They didn't even just run one doubleheader. That's crazy to me.
Did they sell so many tickets in advance that they couldn't morph those two games together on a Sunday?
It's
Mets,
that's
Nats. I know
garbage.
the Mets fans travel well down there, especially right now when the Nats are down. But you can't see two games for the price of one in that situation?
Thing is, they had to clear the stadium and get them back in quick, too.
Oof. There was nothing pretty about that. I don't
That's
get it.
garbage.
You said it. The Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling, Gary Cohen, they were just
Roasted them.
Oh, which good for them. I mean, they
Well, because
deserve
they
it.
have to sit through it too, and also
there's nothing worse.
no, as a broadcaster, but then also like I genuinely feel the pain not only for fans but for the game, and here's why. Let's say you're from another country and you're visiting DC with the fam, going to check out all the sites, right? Hey, Mets, Nats. Oh, we like the Mets. We want to see Pete Alonso or something like that. Never been to a baseball game. Hey, fam, want to go to the Mets-Nats game? And you sit through that shit, you're like, well, that's terrible. You might lose them. If they've never been to a game and that's their experience, that's the long-term thinking that does not exist. Let's run it again.
And we just got this information that today's game has been suspended and will be part of a split doubleheader tomorrow, which is unprecedented to have the completion of a suspended game part of a split doubleheader. So after a galling nearly 4 hours of waiting, including the last half hour where absolutely nothing was happening in terms of trying to get the field ready, that all the work had been done, now they make the decision to play a split doubleheader tomorrow with the resumption of the first game at 12:35 and the second game starting at 4:35. And what I'm assuming is that for the last half hour, that was the communication between the Nationals and the Mets and Major League Baseball to get permission to do this, which as far as I'm concerned has never been done before, that you're giving a piece of a game to the fans as part of a split doubleheader as opposed to playing straight through and making it a single admission.
A piece of a game has now become a full game for the fans that choose to attend. I've never heard of anything like this ever happening, and to wait 4 hours for these folks. You saw the boos, you saw unhappiness. You can't hear how loud and how unhappy they are here tonight.
Absolutely. And for me, to take this long to come to a decision, it's just, and make these people wait out here without any clue, I don't know. That's to me is unconscionable.
It's really a shameful episode on the part of Major League Baseball to permit this to happen and then to come to this kind of a resolution to charge fans twice tomorrow rather than playing straight through with the completion of suspended games. So that'll do it for us here with the Mets trailing the game 1-0 in the third inning. They'll be batting with runners at second and third and one out in the top of the third when the game resumes tomorrow at 12:35, and then the regular game will be played at 4:35.
Yo, give me a ball!
Hey, it was all Met fans they showed.
Give me a game. Give me a game.
I mean, there was one guy that said some bad words, and then the one guy double birded the scoreboard. That was pretty awesome.
That was awesome. Well, it's just that's too much. And what happens sometimes, there was one debacle in the playoffs last year at Yankee Stadium, and it stood out to me a ton because I have a friend who went, took his two nephews and spent big money on it, and he's a casual baseball fan, and he was like, that was the worst game, sports, whatever experience of my life. He's like, we're sitting there for hours. There's no communication. And it was the same thing. Hours later, they call it. And it's just like, what are we doing? I mean, forget the retractable roof BS that exists with half the teams. You can afford it. But then the communication, the way it's handled, and I know it's unpredictable. I've been around the league and on the field and all that and seen what's going on. But sometimes you got to just go, all right, let's put a timer on this shit. You can't make fans sit in their seats for 4+ hours in May.
Preach. I agree.
Like
Preach.
what? You want a fan to show up to a game like an hour before, taking some BP, some food. Let's say it's 2.5. Now you're at 4. So like 8-hour experience at the ballpark, let alone how you go there and go back. Like who's doing that with their kids?
Not me.
Stop.
I'm leaving.
It's too much. You're better than that. Figure it out. And it's Mets Nats.
Are they though?
No, they're not. You play each other like 10 more times probably. Figure it the fuck out. That's too much. And then the icing on the cake the next day. Like we love you so much that you got to pay twice to see the Nats
finish a game. Nats won that game, by the way.
No, Nats won the first one.
That's what I'm saying. The finish game.
Yeah, Nats won the first,
and then
the
they got
Mets
smashed in the second game.
Yeah, so just be better, and props to broadcasts that tell it like it is, which definitely is the Mets broadcast.
Well, they were mad because they had to sit there for 4 hours too.
Right.
One advantage that broadcasters have, though, they can go down to the clubhouse and hang around.
Yeah, I mean,
they get a little more info than we were just told this. They had a little more info than.
But they can't leave like you. They can't be at home going, I'm AJ. I'm already home. They're making more concessions.
Trust me, those texts fly when there's a rain delay. Like when I'm doing a game on Saturday and the other crew is doing a game and one of us is in a rain delay, those texts start flying. You're in a rain delay. Oh, and then I hope you go extra innings. Mm-hmm. Because as a broadcaster, you just want the game, clean.
Yep, I agree. All right, let's slap hands. All right. So a couple things that I want to point out here. First off, I want to throw it to Kratz Hats. And sometimes we'll do a minor league shout out here. Good story for you. Riley Pint, 4th overall pick, 2016. I remember when he was called. Retired briefly in 2021. Control problems, had some injuries, back in 22, and now called up by the Colorado Rockies. Way to stick with it.
Incredible. I mean, there's so much to be uncovered with Riley's career in the sense of like, he should make it. And now he made it. And that's like, it's an accomplishment. It's a crazy accomplishment for him. Congratulations, Riley.
Kratz Hats, what do you got?
Ooh. Gonna go big league throwback because it's Milwaukee Day for me. I'm tailing your pick with Milwaukee because the Cardinals with Wilson Contreras as their starting catcher has lost 10 straight series openers. So why not make today even more? So I went Milwaukee's throwback, the Milwaukee Bears. Eric Dames hit like 600 homers in this uniform.
That is some old school threads right there. I like it. Looks like Babe Ruth today. I got one more, okay? Do you hear James Outman from the weekend?
I saw he did some Twitter stuff.
Foul territory.
Did some Twitter stuff.
Can we try it out?
Yeah.
All right. James Outman said this. All right,
Durham. I don't know what's better, his game or his hair. Conditioned it today, too. Hey, thanks, Cody. Foul Territory TV. So it's a meme, and it's a blonde bearded guy saying, "Thank you for changing my life." And then it's a picture of me, and underneath says, "I'm literally James Outman." I am literally James Outman. That's me. Electric Man 7 says, "We are witnessing a superstar in the making with our own eyes right now. Outman is the future of the Dodgers." Hey, that's a mighty fine compliment.
Nice. That was just organic, by the way. We didn't like use our contacts to be like, Dodgers, like give this to James Outman. That's just beauty on Twitter. All right. So appreciate you.
I'm a huge Twitter guy now.
I know you are. AJ posts like random food that's not even that attractive, and all of a sudden it blows up on Twitter. So you're just that cool. AJ will post like an okay looking sandwich. And
it was pretty good tasting.
I'm sure it was. I'm just saying.
It's hard to get a good picture of a sandwich.
You've also got a good thing going. Like you're showing the food at the ballpark, and it's been done before, but you're doing it better, I will say. I don't know why,
the problem
but
is
you're
now I
doing it better.
repeat this weekend in Atlanta, and I was just there 2 weeks ago. So now it's like, what do I get that I haven't had there?
Or do you race the freeze?
I can't race the freeze in between innings.
If you actually called up Fox and said, "Can I race the freeze? Give me half inning off." Whoever you're on with can obviously carry it. Benetti, Amin, whoever's calling the game. Who says no?
Fox.
AJ.
Really?
Yeah, me. Well, me.
I was going to say, you say no. I don't think
Can I
Fox
get a
says,
scooter?
Maybe. You could try.
It's a long way to run.
I mean, the Braves would be down to probably be creative with you. Just saying, if you want to do something different, either that or stand in the box for a Spencer Strider bullpen session.
I wonder if he's pitching. Like he pitched last time I was there.
Right. I mean, I don't. We'll line it up, but I like your chances. I feel like the stars are going to align, and he's going to be. He's going to have a bullpen that day.
Ooh.
And lastly, right now, podcast, YouTube, the whole deal, the entire week from the inside. Ken Rosenthal with Fair Territory every Monday. It's there for you. It's released. All the good stuff. Some of what we talked about from the insider perspective. Ken bouncing around the league, talking to officials. One thing we didn't get to that you should definitely check out, Christian Walker getting tossed. And some people are like, for nothing? Ken actually has a good story to it. So check that out. Touches on Contreras, Dodgers, Padres, all of that with Ken. Nice little tidy 30-ish minutes for you. Fair Territory.
How come he's fair and we're foul?
It makes a lot of sense. I shouldn't even have to answer that. Please play the music. That's the biggest layup question ever. How is Ken fair and we're foul territory?
Yeah. Why aren't we fair territory and Ken's foul territory?
No. please play the music.
I'll explain it to you tomorrow, AJ.
Okay, thank you.
Or if you've ever watched more than 10 minutes of this show and you had to decide which one's foul territory and which one's fair territory, I don't think it's
We're
that
fair
difficult.
on this show.
Fairly foul. See you Tuesday. We have some big-ass guests this week, so we'll talk more about it tomorrow, 1 to 3 Eastern or 3:17, but who's counting?
We'll talk
See
about
ya.
it, Crouch, as long as Scott didn't forget his mic again.